Peace, fellas.
Peace, peace. What's good?
Peace. What up?
I see AG with the Dream Team shirt, American flag hat. Okay,
So thirsty.
let's
Very
see what
thirsty.
you're on right now. I love it. Dream
Very
Team, good Dream Team.
OG Dream Team.
Facts. I love it. Love it. I love it. How y'all fellas doing on this beautiful Sunday?
Tired.
Yeah, you've been up and at it, bro, since what? Since Thursday? Since Friday? You've been up.
Yeah, a lot of grinding. But you know what I'm saying? It's vacation time. You feel me?
No doubt. No
Gotta do
doubt.
what you gotta do to enjoy the spoils of the hard labor.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't take no days off, man. So enjoy your on your vacation, man. No days off for the kid. You know what
I mean, you may not take days off, but your days on involve you already traveling. So
yeah,
not the same.
no days off. That's true. That's true.
What up, Bugs?
AG having to leave West Virginia to go someplace else. That's a journey within itself, man. You got to pack like Band-Aids and like,
I get what Shaw was talking about. No days off from being a jerk. That's what it was. No days off Ferris Bueller, nigga.
No doubt, man. No doubt. No doubt. So,
Never
fellas,
a dull moment here. Hold on. First of all, everybody, click like and subscribe to the page and all our pages. Run our numbers up. Hip Hop Talks. We're everywhere. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on every simple, stupid naming app that you could think of. Run our numbers up, please.
Yeah.
And what's up to the people in the chat? Jack, I see you up in here. Bugs, what up? Love you. It's all wavy. Where we want to get started today, fellas?
Where y'all want to go? What y'all want to start with?
Let's get into these albums, man.
I kind of wanted to talk about LeBron and Steph and Katie and the Olympics right quick.
Okay, yeah. The light skin cast is back up.
I mean,
spinning the block.
Yo, hey, Drake and Tatum had him down bad for a little bit, but Steph.
Yeah, Steph came back, man.
I told my son Jordan, I was like, yo, y'all back up again, man.
Yeah.
What are we? I mean, seriously, guys. Like, I know we won, but what are we going to do in 4 years when Victor Wembanyama is 24 years old and might be the best player in the world? And France is building this program on both the men's and the women's side because the women defeated the French women today by 8 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
like there isn't any more. The world is catching up to us anymore. The world has caught up to us.
Yeah,
and here's what I'm saying. It took us having 3 of the 15 greatest players who ever lived to win this gold medal by roughly 10 points. Yeah. Doesn't that frighten anybody about our future just a little bit? Like, just a little bit, because who do we have right now other than Ant, I think, that has a potential trajectory to be in that conversation? Because even the best players of this era, well, in Jokic's case, they're not even from here. In Giannis's case, they're not from here. So it's like, in a lot of ways, it's like, oh no, I'm not sure if a Jason Tatum, John Morant, Anthony Edwards led team, I'm not sure how that type of team wins gold in 4 years unless Ant really does like turn into a Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Akeem Olajuwon, like type of all-time great player. Because people forget this. It took Durant busting 30 on the French in the last game to get us out of that one. And that was a 5-point victory. And the American team was down in the fourth quarter against the French against 21. And Kevin Durant literally just told the team, just give me the ball.
Right.
Take us home. And so Kevin Durant's performance in the last Olympics is very comparable to Steph's in this one, the way that they closed out the games respectively. It's taken 2 of our 15 greatest players of all time to close out these last 2 Olympics, Durant in 21 and Steph last night. And LeBron playing like Magic Johnson because he has the talent to play like Magic Johnson and just fill up the stat sheet and make all the wonderful passes and plays. Because when LeBron plays with talent, he actually looks just like Magic.
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
getting dunked on.
So
Well, let's not
with the-
forget that it took Kobe to close out Spain. I don't remember if that was '08 or 2012, but that was '08 with the Redeem team, right?
Team.
Yeah,
So,
they-
and it took Carmelo having a few big games to, you know what I'm saying, close out some teams. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think to your point, Coop, it's a big worry not having Durant. Steph let it be known this was going to be his one and only chance at a gold medal, and then LeBron, obviously. The younger guys left on the roster, can they carry the torch? We don't know. But
look here, in these last two games, I watched Kevin Durant and Steph Curry hit assassin level shots when it mattered most. Like
right.
it's one thing to do it in the first quarter. No, they're doing it in the last 4 minutes of the game, like real verifiable closer type of shit. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. You seen Durant in the semifinal game. Go ahead, go ahead, clear out. Go ahead and
But this
finish
is
this
playoff
off.
type intensity moments. Like,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't be that close, but I think that's a twofold thing. One thing, to your point about the rest of the world catching up, and I heard Barkley talking about it. That is a true statement, but these other countries still don't have, somebody like a Kevin Durant or Jason Tatum or what that you could pull off the bench. You know what I mean? So the depth level of the USA is one thing, but depth isn't everything, because I was listening to Paul George talk, and this is something that we never take into consideration, right? He said just putting 12 all-stars together and thinking they're going to be a team. He said, I mean, that's not necessarily the case. He said that's hard to do. Like if you're a superstar working in the confinements of a system, of a team where you're used to getting your own shots a certain way and doing those sorts of things. So I think that's why when they adopted the USA camps around the Redeem team, where you have to have a so many year commitment, and you do the World Games and then you come back for the Olympics. Every 2 years you're in that cycle, so you get to develop a chemistry. But what a lot of people don't speak about these other countries, even though they don't have the superstars we have, they may have 2 or 3 NBA players, but these guys have played together most of their whole lives. You know what I mean? And
they don't have the resources though, like we
Hold
have.
on, but AG, and they're also playing and building out these programs with the intentions to contend and defeat the United States. Like we are the target when they are building out these programs from these kids that have been playing together since they were 10, 11, 12, 13 years old.
Exactly. And that's all a product of this right here, the original Dream Team. That's what started that. You know what I mean? And, and I think that's...
We're giving it too much credit, fellas. We're giving it too much credit, straight up. Because we got more programs, more resources than they will ever have to build a comparable team, the talent that we have, and just the programs and everything that we have to come along with it. A lot of these guys, a lot of these countries, man, they are poor. They don't have that around the clock treatment when it comes to playing basketball. You know what I mean? When I came up, we didn't have a legit AAU program. We didn't have all of those things, the resources, and to be able to treat your body the right way to be prepared for a season after the season. We had to take bumps and bruises and kind of shake it off. That's what they're going through. What we had to go through in the 90s and the 80s, that's what they're going through right now in 2024. The thing is, USA basketball has changed so much. The NBA has changed so much. It's a caricature of what it used to be, because now you don't have no hand checking. There's no defense being played. There's no pride in defense. There's no pride in just having a skill tree that can develop. So when you go over there and you play loose balls in the Olympics, you have goofy stuff that happens. These teams are staying close to you because you're not playing good defense. That Dream Team, I don't want to go back and get off my lawn type of deal here, but that Dream Team, those guys, they played skill basketball, fundamental basketball, and they started with defense. Those guys had pride playing defense, because back then you had to play defense to stay on the court. Nowadays, they let people go by you, they let you shoot. You let somebody from what France doing the mellow joint, they're not even shooters like that. You know what I mean? Because you're leaving them wide open.
Yeah.
That's how it is in the NBA. That's why these games are like 130 to 120, 140 points, because there's no pride in defense.
And to your point, that's a problem if Drew Holiday is the best defender on your whole team.
Bingo. That's what I'm saying. They're like, yes, have they closed the gap? Absolutely. Have they caught up? Absolutely. But a lot of that is because of the regression of fundamental basketball that's not being played over here. The most fundamental player won the championship last year, and that was Jokic. The most fundamental unexciting player, won the championship last year, and what, 2-time, 3-time MVP of the league?
2 times. Mm-hmm.
2-time MVP of the
No, he
league?
might have 3.
It
He
was
might have 3.
Three now. It's three
It's
now.
3, yeah.
It's 3 now. You know what I mean? And he's playing fundamental. That's what those guys are over there doing. They're playing fundamental basketball. No isolation, no stat pattern, none of that. They're playing basketball together. They don't care
Correct.
who scores what.
Correct.
We do.
Right.
Because
And if the team didn't have LeBron to run the offense, like to Coop's point about him looking like Magic Johnson, then what does that look like if they don't have LeBron being the point guard that he is? You know,
I'm saying that's like LeBron. It's not regular point guard play.
no,
Like he just played like Magic level like point guard play. Like
Mhm.
you know what made Magic special is that he had players. But he made the players like even better because he put them right in their spots. It's like it only took LeBron like a couple of weeks to figure out everybody's spots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he saw the entire court. He knew where everyone was going to be at the right time.
And he's played against all these guys, so he studied all these guys, in particular Steph and KD. So he knows exactly where to give them the ball. He's like, I know where you like the ball. Had to play your ass too much.
Yeah, no doubt. But you got to have those guys that can be fundamentally sound in, those type of positions, like a traditional point guard, somebody who's a good on the ball defender. A lot of people forget on the original Dream Team, John Stockton played like one game and was hurt. The rest of the Olympics, he broke his fibula in one of his legs. So Michael Jordan was like playing backup point guard. When Magic went out the game, he was sliding from the 2 to the point. So I mean, you got to have a lot of these quote unquote traditional positions and fundamentals to compete with these teams. So I agree with Sean in that sense.
Well,
how
about this? This is what I'm saying is that, but listen to the players that we are talking about. We are talking about Magic Johnson and John Stockton and LeBron James and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. I'm saying no, but who we got that's next that's comparable to replace that?
No.
Because outside Ant, in terms of that highest level, not a high level, they all made it over here. Of course, they're high level.
Yeah, that peak level.
Because it's going to take a player performing at the highest level, at the level we just saw Steph Curry perform, at the level we saw Kevin Durant performing in the previous Olympics, and Melo in the Olympics before that, and Kobe in the Olympics before that. I think you're right, AG. I think it was 12, not 8. Spain is 12, I think. You're right.
Okay. Yeah, and D-Wade was big for that 08 team. I know he went crazy to like get them over the hump on some games. So, and he was like 6th man,
And Carmelo's probably the worst of those players we just named. Most of these guys are not Carmelo.
That's my guy.
I mean, but most of these guys
being fair, you're right. But
most of these guys not Carmelo. Are we clear on that? Like most of the guys on this roster not named LeBron James, Steph Curry.
Jay,
especially with the ball in their hand, like,
Is that Kerr's fault though? Is that Steve Kerr's fault?
You want to know what people keep
JT
talking about?
You breaking up, AG?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yeah, my power went out for a second. JT didn't get a fair shake during this one, but he's somebody who I think is going to be around a little bit in the Olympics, as long as Steve Kerr don't coach him, I guess.
Respectfully, this is what I'm saying. Do you think Jason Tatum is actually better than Carmelo Anthony?
Hell no, Carmelo's my guy, one of my favorite players ever.
Hold on. Then what makes you think when we just named off Wade, Kobe, LeBron, KD, and Steph, that's the level. That's that A1 level.
Yeah, the young guys, there's nobody on
that level. And Jason Tatum is probably going to be a top 3 player on the next team that we field.
Correct. I'm not even putting Ant on Melo level. So.
You think what?
I'm not even putting Ant Edwards on Melo's level. So you named him as probably the best on the next team. You know what I mean?
I think Ant trending at this moment is going to be better than Carmelo all time if he continues down this path. And so what I'm saying is that our best possibility? Because it's like when I see where Ant is trending, it's like I could see him having a Dwayne Wade type of career. Like that would be the floor, but the ceiling would be a Kobe type of career. And he has the highest ceiling is what I'm saying, is because I legitimately see somebody that could have a Kobe like career.
That ceiling is very high.
if he maxes, did you see what he just did in these playoffs at like 20, 21 years old? It's very Kobe-like.
Yeah.
Let's see if
Like
he
he
can do
didn't
it.
win yet,
Yeah.
but Kobe.
But Melo,
didn't-
don't get it twisted. Melo was doing that too for Denver. Melo was doing that too for Denver. You know what I'm saying?
He was killing it.
No disrespect to Melo, but we talking top 30, and I'm talking top 10.
Yeah, but Melo was killing it for Denver.
Yeah,
Bron didn't even make the playoffs his first 2 years. Bron didn't even make, and Melo was carrying Denver on his back.
I mean, Wade's a better closer.
Exactly.
Wade's a better closer than both of them, truthfully. Like
Yeah.
historically, if you really want to look at it, Dwayne Wade was hitting playoff game-winning shots as a rookie.
Nah, Melo got the record for game winners. We might have to do another quantifiable facts.
I said that Dwayne Wade was hitting game
What did you
winners
say?
in the playoffs as a rookie. I didn't say he had
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
I'm
he
saying
was.
as a rookie.
He was, yeah, because that was against your boys.
It's neither here nor there.
It's
Neither here nor there. It has nothing to do with the conversation whatsoever. Let's slide to the next topic.
Let's go to the next topic. AG, internet is going out in West Virginia again, man. Like when the weather is good, the West Virginia internet start messing up. So he's frozen right now. Give him a chance to come back to life. Where you want to start, man? Where you want to go? You want to go Drake? You want to go the album review with Mike, or do you want to go?
Yo, can y'all hear me? I went out for a minute.
Yeah.
Real quick before we get off the USA basketball talk, do y'all think Kawhi deserves a medal for this team?
Why?
No. He didn't make
What did he do? What did he do other than cost the team money and team doctors?
Right. Exactly.
He just got free health care overseas. That's what he got. He got free health care and rehabilitation and a vacation.
Yeah.
Definitely pimping the system. He asked the Clippers for a helicopter.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a wild boy. He's a real wild boy.
Let's not do that, AG. Let's not do that. Let's go to music.
Real
People
wild
asking for the music, man. The chat asking for the music, man. Let's get to the music.
No doubt.
Where y'all want to go with? Y'all want to start first? Where y'all want to kick off?
I would like to start with Drake.
Okay.
Is that cool, AG?
Yeah.
Let's go.
First of all, I want to say, I want my jacket. You have to my birthday to give me my jacket.
You're getting that jacket.
You have to my birthday to give me my jacket. First of all, Sean, nobody asked me. That's why I didn't tag you on Twitter today when I reposted. Much like the Future and Metro album.
I'm starting to feel a wave, man. I don't even know.
Much like the Future and Metro album, we don't trust you.
I'm with you on that, Coop.
Really? Yo, man, shout out to my homie LG, man.
I don't trust
LG and MD, man.
No,
Holla at your boy, man.
I realized this battle has made me realize how polarizing Drake really is for people. You know, because as I'm having to clarify now, I'm actually a Pusha T fan, so I've always looked at Drake on an MC level as somebody that's really good, but not like great, not that next level great where like rap wise he necessarily excites me, but he is very versatile. He does do all the things. You know, he's a high-level rapper. He sings. Hook game is, you know, in the conversation for greatest of all time, if not greatest of all time. Like, he's up there with 50 and Meth and all your other, like, all-time great, like, hook writers / singers in here.
Feature game.
Yeah. Feature game, sales, hits, streams, however we counting now, he counts. You know, and counts and runs the numbers up, puts numbers on the board. So what I really realized by him releasing this is that he's really doing this not necessarily about the music, but about so that you really, you know, a lot of this is still jabs at Kendrick. It's like, no, look at all the work that I put in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's showing you all the work that he puts in towards his craft to get to where he's at. So he's kind of like, oh, since people is asking questions, you know what I'm saying? Let me pull it like behind the curtain for you a little bit and show you like what it's really all about. Like when he's showing you like recording out of a studio, a microphone booth that essentially is a closet, like in a room. You know what I'm saying? He's showing some humility. He's showing some insight. You know, this is type of stuff you really don't get from artists of this stature while they're still like, you know, existing at this stature. This is the stuff you get after they're done or when they're doing a big interview and somebody goes to some footage. But I don't think that it was a bad move because I don't think he necessarily did it about the music. And some of the music is actually good. You know, like don't tell me that It's Up with Young Thug and 21 isn't good. That's one of 21's better verses that I've heard in a minute.
You think he was going at Kendrick?
Huh?
You think he was going at Kendrick on that bar?
No. Okay, so really? He's definitely going at Kendrick. But he's going at Kendrick. Like, it's almost like he's resetting and restarting. Because this is what I mean. He's back to throwing the subliminals again. You know? Like,
yeah, his manager said it wasn't for Kendrick, but I don't like when somebody's manager comes to the forefront and speaks up for him when the artist never said that.
When your manager comes out, that's like Owens had like Drew Rosenhaus come out, like, you know, to his front lawn, like while he's like sit up there doing fucking crunches in the back or some shit. You get what I'm saying? It's just like, oh no, at the point that your agent / manager or whatever is coming out and saying something, that's when we don't
damage control.
That's when we don't trust you. That's when right there is when it happens. So no, but I thought it was actually an insightful look into him kind of, and this is where I feel like it's a jab at Kendrick. It's kind of like, I'm always working. How about you? You know, that's what I mean. All of this stuff is subliminal. No, the stuff that he's saying on these records is subliminal, like all of them. And I like the fact that he's trying to show you too that he's not affected by it. The one way you can see that he might be affected by it, if the rationale and cause for releasing this is him being affected by it. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, he's kind of showing you that it's business as usual, and this is the usual.
Mm-hmm. I got a question for y'all though. It's a lot of people that have an opposing view of that. I've seen it a lot on social media that the narrative now is like, you know, Drake is, you know, to have that work ethic. He's in like one of those 360 type deals and he's slaving for Lucian Grange and, you know, having the Universals like, yo, get back to work. You know what I'm saying? Keep on putting out these hits. And, you know, what do you have to say to that?
Well, hold on. First of all, I think, you know, my guy Pusha T is the one that actually made that a thing. Mm-hmm. Is for people to point that out. So we're going to point him out for pointing that out. But also, too, you're talking about a guy that owns a couple of planes in Drake.
Right.
You know, so it's not like he's running around like still trying to pay people because he's in some sort of debt or in some sort of hole or isn't being extorted. He might just be in, you know, quite frankly, a rap record deal. And like Q-Tip told us on the Low End Theory, rap media and business people are shady. So he might just be in a bad deal, but that only, I mean, how many niggas is in a bad deal if we just gonna keep it funky? You know what I'm saying? Like, how many of these dudes is actually in, like, most of the industry is in bad deals. Don't point out Drake, because here's what it does. Drake makes the type of music that generates the type of income that the bad deal that he's in hasn't really affected his financial trajectory more than the inherent, like, you know, paperwork that's on the contract itself. Like, he's actually done, like name other, like, if his deal is bad, show me the other rapper with the deal is bad that got as much money as Drake. And
I think he's close to a billionaire now. I think I saw his net worth at like 900 million or something.
His assets and everything liquid. Yeah. Assets. And if you were to liquidate, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Plus like straight cash flow. Yeah. Come on. So is he in a bad deal? Probably. Here's the thing about it. It meant more when Pusha T said it 10 years ago for the first time. Mm-hmm. Because back then Drake didn't have money like he has today.
Right.
He was making money, but he's built an empire since then financially for himself. It wasn't an empire when Pusha T said it. So the effect of it isn't as...
That's true.
It's not the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, most of these cats is in bad deals. Like, let's not act like it's just Drake.
Or
Kendrick for that matter, because there's been swirlings and rumors about Kendrick, which is kind of like some of the stuff Drake was alluding to on push-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all in bad deals. I mean, Jay's still trying to get access to 100% reasonable doubt. You know, no one is in the better space. Nas still doesn't have all the credits to Illmatic. You know what I mean? So everyone goes through this, right?
It's rap life.
It's rap life. It's rap life. I don't know, man. This is a tricky thing for me when it comes to Drake and just the music in itself, because hip hop has became it's no longer immutable. Hip hop is more diverse now, where it's almost blurred the lines to where hip hop really stops and where it begins again.
Mhm.
And Drake kind of ventured into that space because he got the singing, he got the dancehall stuff, he got the pop stuff, he got like a different range, different level of palettes that he can dive into. So he will always be accepted in different arenas. May not be much as more as hip hop as the purists will call it, but he still be accepted in different arenas. You know, that he's proven that with Gordo, he's proven that by hopping on other tracks. I think right now his goal, if I'm Drake, my goal is to come out with a great album. That's the best you can do at this point. You can dump all of these, 100 gigabytes all over the place and show nostalgic stuff of old rhetorics or relics of you, all these things. The goal is to drop a dope album.
So Sean, here was my final point and kind of takeaway from all of this, though. And it kind of goes back to something that I've been saying, and that's not why I'm pointing it out. It really is truly like what I see from this as a whole. Well, right now, he's kind of showing you this beef shit with him.
Mm-hmm.
Just a small thing to me and the big piece of the puzzle of what I do. It's reflected in the 3 songs that are actually on iTunes right now because they're hitting his 3 different market bases. And just through the actual footage, like there is no real Kendrick talk outside of the actual music subliminals. And so he's kind of showing you this is at the end of the day a small thing to a giant is the overall feel that I get from it. It's like, yeah, but business as usual is me because over here it's like real big business all the times and I got to keep the business going. You know what I'm saying? So it came off very much to me like, let me peel back a little bit before I rev up again and kind of like just show people like the inside of what it looks like for me. And the inside of what it looks like for me doesn't involve needing to talk about him to rejuvenate or restart or do anything.
But cool, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't like it because in the battle, no, here's why. In the battle, he was the one that said he was prepared for this with K Dot. He was the one that said, I got more to come at you. You come at me, I got more. I'm not going to stop. He created this wave of this beef. He was the one who antagonized K Dot in the beginning to the point where we felt like, okay, he baiting K Dot. He must have he have a loaded clip to come back. And he did not have a loaded clip. He went into this thinking that I'm going to crush K Dot off of this song or that song, or this visual or that visual, this IG, that IG, and it backfired to the point where he didn't have a clip at all. So I can't accept the fact that now I'm just going to show you what I can do. I have other business to go. Nah, you started this fire. And now the fact that you started this fire, K Dot came through, had a smash hit in Not Like Us, very poetic to what Drake would do in a battle. You got everybody bopping to it. I'm not a big fan of the song. I think it's ran its course, but people still going crazy over it.
Well, I like the record. The record dope. Like I'm not.
It's a dope record, but I feel like it's ran its course for me. Right? I'm just saying.
I don't know.
Like, it's ran its course for me.
Unbiasedly speaking, since people think I'm so biased, nah, Sean, I think the record's still slapping like right now. Like he got one with this one. I told you, this is one of his best songs, actually. Like this is one of his top 20 songs, and I'm not just talking about the attention and the streams that it's getting. It's a dope ass record.
It's a dope song. It crushed Drake's momentum, or even if he had momentum. That's the thing. Did he even get momentum? Was he just still ramping up because it shitted all over Family Matters? Right. When we thought that Drake had dropped a bomb in Family Matters, here comes Kendrick again. And I'm like, he didn't even get that joint a chance to breathe. So now Drake is in an odd space where you had an opportunity to seize a moment and you didn't have anything left in the tank.
Right.
Now you want to come back and start dropping all this IG stuff and 100 gigabytes. I can't accept that.
No, y'all both are right. Y'all both are right for different reasons.
Hold on, real quick, AG, and then I'm gonna let you go, and then we can kind of like slide, or we can toggle through this a little bit more if y'all want. But this is what I mean about business as usual, and AG spoke to it in our last show on Friday. Well, he does shit like this actually before this battle, and that's what I mean about kind of sending the messages business as usual. No, he comes from an era where you leak some of your stuff, to get people more connected to you and what you have going on. And so, you know, strategically, he connects like this in every generation or every span of time, every 3 to 5 years. Doesn't he do this, AG?
But
Yeah,
you got to pivot.
it's in his bag.
You got to
It's
pivot.
it's part of the Drake kit, though, is what I'm saying, Sean.
The
He was
Drake
going
kid,
to do this. He was going to
Pivot.
do this. It comes with the kit that makes him the star that he is. He was going to do this, whether this battle happened or not, is what I'm trying to tell you.
I agree. I agree, Coop. But Sean, you're also right. And not to rehash stuff that we done talked about ad nauseum. But to your point, Sean, yes, like, you know, he antagonized Kendrick because, like, and to Coop's point previously, we didn't have the evidence that Kendrick was going to come with a flurry of records and that he had to work. And Drake thought that if he could antagonize him and bait him for a response, that Family Matters was, he was like, I still haven't pushed the red button. It's not the red button. Family Matters for him was the red button. He says at the end, you're dead. Doubles down, you're dead. He thought that was the kill shot, but it wasn't. And the point that people miss a lot of times about Meet the Grams didn't necessarily have to be better than Family Matters. I personally don't think it is, but it's just the fact that it stifled out any momentum that Drake could have had with Family Matters. It did its job, and then Kendrick knew he had Not Like Us waiting in the wings. Nobody could have predicted that. I don't care how much of a Kendrick fan you are, you didn't know he was going to hit with that flurry of records. Now,
Meet the Grams is like when General Sherman burned Atlanta. It wasn't the end of the war, but he was cutting the supply off when he did that.
There you go. And, you know, and then moving forward beyond that, you know, to our point about the evidence of Kendrick not working like that, I was having a discussion with my homie the other day, and he was like, well, where's the album out? Where's the album at? Kendrick got to follow up this momentum with an album. I was like, he actually doesn't. You know what I mean? Because if we're going by, you know, what Coop said, Not Like Us is still ringing off to present day. It's buying him a lot of time, buying him a lot of momentum. So ride that shit till the wheels fall off. And then when that happens, guess what he's probably going to do? Drop the remix that we've been hearing about for the past couple months that's lingering out there. And because he had the visuals and stuff. So then the remix buy you a few more months. And then we might not even get a Kendrick album till middle of 2025 because this one song is buying him all the time in the world. You know what I mean? So I think that is the point where, you know, Kendrick can be afforded with this hit record to work at the pace he normally works. Now, where Coop's right, to Coop's point, Drake, this is the Drake kid. He's done it before. And if we remember, like you said, Sean, with the IG captions, when the battle, when everybody had said it was done, he had the picture of the samurai against the armory. He said, what'd he say? He said, good times, summer vibes next.
Yes.
This little 100 gig EP that he put out is in line with what he's saying. Like, I'm on to creating the summer vibes. That blue, green, red is a summer type record. The joint with Lotto is a summer type record. The only thing I'm disappointed about, like I predicted on the last show, I thought it was going to be a part. Those three songs were going to be a part to a greater whole. Like he was going to come with the Care Package Volume 2 or something like that of unreleased stuff. So, you know, that's the only disappointment I have. But, you know, it's on brand for him, you know, dropping these 3 joints. When he put them out on the website, the 100gigs.org or whatever, that was, you know, Sean brought this up. That was a temperature check to see if the people were still rocking with him like that. And not only Drake fans, but Kendrick fans was going to check the records out. You know what I mean? So let's put them on streaming and run them numbers up. So, you know, I think y'all both are right in that sense.
Can I share my final thoughts and then we can get out of here? I love this, fellas. I love this. 2 points. I want to make my first point is when Jay went at Nas and Nas dropped Stillmatic Freestyle and Jay suppressed it, and he thought that he had this whole thing wrapped up, and Jay overshot himself and undershot Nas, and then Ether came. Nas didn't have to do anything else after Ether. He let Ether burn. And Jay had to deal with it. He had to respond, continue to respond, and not just poking him lightly, you know, all of these things. Then he finished it off with Last Real Alive. That was the end of that. That was it. No remixes to Ether, no remixes to anything else. He kept it right there. Same thing, you go back and you look at the fact that when Drake said he had this extra extended clip for Kendrick and never shot it off, And now we're still dancing to Not Like Us, or you all still dancing to Not Like Us. I don't dance. I'm a gangster. Y'all still dancing. Y'all be shaking the tail feather to Not Like Us. We still trying to figure out, and like Coop said earlier, you got to drop an album after that. And the last point to that is, and I saw my shout out to E, salute to E's, Queens Get the Money. And he was talking about the L and cannabis battle and said that L really lost that battle. And we had conversations about that, behind the scenes by saying, nah, L's consistency is what won the battle. Cannabis took a round, but L consistency won the overall battle.
Cannabis made the best song in the battle, but the overall.
But him dropping the dud didn't help matters any that.
Well, hold on. So, Sean, I want you to finish because I have a point to make. This.
That was I was teeing you up for that because that's what I was saying. That's why I wanted to go there.
So that's what I'm saying. People don't understand that it's like part of winning the battle overall. Traditionally, has always had a project connected to it.
Yes, that's all I'm asking.
There you go.
The project is connected to the victory.
Yes,
and I think
the project is the victory lap. You get what I'm saying? Like you have to consolidate your power. You can't just take the throne. You have to consolidate your power with an album.
That's
and I said on a previous show that I cannot put this battle over Jay and Nas because Jay and Nas has the Blueprint and Stillmatic attached to it.
Exactly.
Two classic albums.
Clear
in the Black Album,
two classic albums. Like it's a classic when you listen to it.
Right.
Yes.
So that's the consolidation of those moments. And what I'm saying is that if what you just have is the records, it's like no Vaseline ends Death Certificate. Before you get the No Vaseline, it's some of the best rap. Like at the point that he had made Death Certificate, you could say that was a top 5 mic performance all time. That's before No Vaseline comes on.
Oh, and to that same point, Coop, you're right, because Daytona came out prior to the story of Adidon and all that stuff, so he was still reeling off of Daytona. So, if it's a classic album, you can attach to it. It's almost like, you head to head in a battle for MVP, and then you win the MVP race, but you don't get the chip at the end of the year. It's kind of like that. You need that chip at the end of the year to solidify your MVP in a sense.
Yeah, like, and this is what I mean about Drake saying that it's business as usual, because this shit is popping for Dot right now, and I'm not taking away anything from him as an MC. A lot of this is popping for him because of who he is talking about. Yeah. And Drake is like, well, back to business for me because I don't have to talk about anybody for my shit to pop. I can go right back to throwing subliminals at you all day. And it can be business as usual. Whereas the guy over here, like you say, AG, his time, and I think even saying buying time, that's kind of strong, AG, and that's me saying that.
Well, no, I just at the pace he normally works. I didn't mean it with no disrespect. You know what I mean? But
okay.
you ride the single out for sure.
Right. He's getting to ride this single out. Listen to what I'm saying. Because this song is the best rap song that he's made in a long ass time. I'm not taking anything away from the record. I'm saying this is better than song wise. Forget the diss part. If you actually love the craft of MCing and you're listening to what he's doing and how he's dancing on the beat and the pocket that he's finding, and when he uses his vocal inflections and voice changes to his benefit and not his detriment. No, this record fundamentally has an MC, has all those things. The hook is catchy and it's taking shots. It does a lot of things. So as far as mic performance and song quality, it's literally the best shit that he has made in a very long time. But it's about somebody else. And what Drake is saying is I don't got to do that to make a song that good.
And to your point, to juxtapose that, Coop, I don't consider Ether or Takeover a top 5 song on either one of those albums.
Because it's not. It's because it's not. This is one of his 20 best songs, overall songs. Because
you're right.
He did it with a Kendrick Lamar song approach. So there's some vocal inflections. There's a calculated breakdown in theory being applied to the storyline of the rhymes. He's just doing it in battle form because he's getting at a nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's classic Kendrick in terms of what his ceiling is. This is some of his best stuff.
Okay. So let me ask a question. I don't have an answer to this. I just really want to know y'all's thoughts. So, and then we can move on. let's not get it twisted. Kendrick took that battle because you're gonna have some people in the comments saying that, like, we're trying to frame it a different way. Kendrick took that battle hands down, But if both of them drop albums around the same time, and Drake clearly has the better album of the two, then what does that? I don't like saying somebody won the battle and somebody else won the war. I don't like that rhetoric. But what does that look like as far as the framework of the whole thing? If Drake drops the better project of the two, I don't have an opinion. I'm just asking.
Hold on. Can I tell you what I think could happen? I think that we could be having the first rap battle that kind of like keeps going after it seems like a seminal moment has happened. As in, like, it might not be over. Like people are like, it's over with Not Like Us. And Drake's whole point might be, well, my stature is as such that even if you make a record like that, which is some of your best stuff, it can never be over for a guy like me. I'm going to keep going and getting at you. Because I'll tell you what, as a Pusha T fan, as somebody that feels like he lost to Pusha T,
he kept going.
Oh, but he kept going. He stayed competitively viable. And that's what you really want out of a rap artist. And that's what I mean when I'm saying he has core fundamental hip hop tendencies that he doesn't get acknowledged for, because it's very akin to the fact, and I mean, Sean, you and I have talked about this before. It's like, well, if you whoop my ass, and it's hard to whoop my ass, you should know that you're gonna have to fight me again. I'm not
every day.
You have to fight me till I beat you. You understand that? I don't care if you get me real bad. I got to take a couple days to recover when I see you again.
And rappers got the big egos, and Sean mentioned it earlier. Jay was still, Nas was, sending us, just kind of antagonizing Jay, like, reminded him that he lost, like, up until Last Real Alive, you know what I mean? But Jay, I think he was releasing stuff all the way up until a lot of people don't mention the PSA remix, where, because Made You Look is a diss record in a sense, or whatever, the slave to a page in his rhyme book. He's talking about Jay, and Jay responded to that on the PSA remix. He said, they shooting but nobody dying, somebody better put a body on somebody's iron. Y'all remember that joint?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
no, Jay is taking shots on the Black Album at Nas. Some of that stuff.
Absolutely.
What more can I say? That's about like
he was whining.
Nas.
I should
about Nas.
One of everybody's list. Let's see what
right. But that's what I'm saying. But that's also but Jay's way of saying is that, like, no, like, I might have like lost, but I can still make a product like the Black Album.
Yes.
Yeah, the Blueprint and the Black Album. It's like, no, I lost now. How the Blueprint and the Black Album sound? It's like, well, nobody's career can ever be over when you make albums like that, when you rhyme the way Jay rhymes.
Yeah.
Like, it can't
so Drake
be over.
has to put up.
Right. And so Drake he don't need the Black Album, because I think that's too big of an ask at this stage. But he needs something to show that it's like very much like Jay, like in the midst of losing a battle, he made the Blueprint and the Black Album in the midst of that, though. It's like that. It's a loss against one guy, but it's not a loss overall compared to the rest of you dudes.
So let me get this straight.
Drake, hold on, AG, and real quick. And there are still people that think that despite losing that battle, that Jay is better than Nas. And there's a large amount of people that feel that way, including the mass media. So we need to be taking the long stream approach about this. And look, if you look at Not Like Us, the way that you look at Ether, if you feel like it's a modern day Ether, understand Ether's a kill shot to literally probably anybody else except for a Prime J or a Prime Rakim. For anybody else, it's a kill shot. But because of who they are on the mic, album-wise and culturally, no, ain't no killing that off. And Drake very much is in that respect in this generation, and he just needs an album to consolidate that thought.
Yeah. Well, and that's good points. But I just want to ask you this, Coop, to keep you honest. Drake doesn't have to come out with a Black Album level record, but Cole has to come out with a Cuban Link type record.
No. Let's go to album reviews. Yes. Album reviews. No. Yes. Album reviews. No. We're not doing that.
He stepped away. You want to step away from the mic? You better come back to the mic with something brilliant. You want to step away from the mic?
Not doing this. No,
so I said we're not doing this today.
No, man. That's Patreon.
Rap on the microphone.
That's for the Patreon. Don't get triggered on that. Patreon.
Ridiculous. Yes.
Coming soon. Coming soon.
I didn't
Coming
say.
soon.
I said he don't have to make the purple tape
No.
because that's unrealistic.
His
But
purple tape.
Oh my goodness.
his purple tape.
I got you.
How about this? I think it's. Can I get the Cool Level by Lupe Fiasco or Midnight Marauders or Philadelphia Half-Life Things Fall Apart
No.
or Like Water for Chocolate? Can I get a Like Water for Chocolate like type of record? Do you think that's unreasonable?
Not for Cole, no.
After all of this too?
Come on.
Not unreasonable. It's necessary at this point.
We'll see what happens first. You get your jacket or Cole drop.
I don't even need him. I don't even need him to make Moment of Truth. Like I don't need Moment of Truth or It's Dark and Hell is Hot or Get Rich or Die Trying Out of You. Like
hey,
make Philadelphia.
What about Michael?
I'm sorry, man. I was provoking Coop with that one. Let's move on.
Man. This
is ridiculous.
Oh, good grief. Michael.
Better make Album of the Year.
We going to Michael next.
Album of the Year. If he don't make Album of the Year, I ain't trying to hear it.
It's on you, AG.
Okay, yeah. So we go into Michael, and that's a good transition. Coop talking about Album of the Year because Killer Mike was one to promote Michael as such. This new project, man, the name of it is a long title. I don't even remember it off the top of my head. It's for Saints and Sinners. What's it called?
Saints and Sinners, something. Man, get to the music.
Yeah.
Let me get a super chat.
Okay, go ahead.
Not 1988.
I don't know what this is. JP Mafia album is production wise. Raps are mid. Thank you for the super chat.
No. Tell him to put that back in the chat because we don't understand what the hell that.
I don't know what that is. He might be from a different country.
I think it's euros.
Send us a link then.
That's a different currency.
Send us a link.
Yeah, we got you. Yo, Magic, thank you for the super chat. I noticed rappers like Dot, Drake, and Logic out here dropping 8 to 9 minutes rap songs. Thank you, Lupe. Please, let's not get started on that again, please. Yo. So we were talking about Mike, right?
Yeah. I got Michael. This man, Sean, wow, man. But yeah, I got this new project. It's and Coop mentioned the last time, it maybe can be seen as like lost tape-ish or whatever. I won't go that far, but rappers will find a way to repackage and repurpose like products that they, songs that they worked on before. And listen to this project. It was cool. But what I will say, like, he had new joints on there, but some were repurposed, like the song Slumber from Michael and Songs for Junkies, which were two standouts on Michael. He repurposed that into like one, and Illmatic brought up these 9-minute songs. It's like a 10-minute song on there where he combines both of those songs, and it's called Slumber for Junkies. And it's a 10-minute song with different beats and production, but the same lyrics as those two songs, which were on Michael. And then he has another song that's repurposed with features. It got Blast on there, Offset, called Scenic Route or whatever. That was on. It's called Exit 9. That was on the Michael joint. So what I'll say is, outside of the repurposed songs, I think this would have been better served as, because the songs are solid. If you would have packaged these songs with Michael and made like a nice cohesive double album, because I feel like a lot of these songs would have fit within the scheme of Michael. He probably scrapped them while he was recording. And I'm not necessarily saying people are running to check for a Killer Mike double album, but the Michael Deluxe runtime was about an hour and like 10 minutes roughly. And then this project is roughly about 40 minutes. So if you take off the repurposed songs and then add the other songs in with Michael, you're looking at probably a solid hour and a half, double album that would have flowed well, would have been cohesive. But, sometimes the move is like, okay, well, let's repackage this and put it out later to keep that steam rolling or whatever. But I don't see the purpose in it, really. I think it would have been better as a double album for me.
It's an okay album. It's an okay listen. Nothing jumps out. I love Nobody Knows. I love 97 36 Freestyle. I love Still Talking. I'm gonna be honest. I want to apologize to my homeboy Pittman. Back in '99, I told him that Project Pat was just as bad as Silk the Shocker, and now it's 2024. And my adult self, I know I was young and naive and ignorant. Now me being 44, I look forward to hearing the Project Pat verse, honestly. And I felt that Project Pat verse to me was something refreshing to close out the album, in my opinion. And that's crazy for me to even think about that years later, 20 plus years later, thinking that, man, I'm looking forward to hearing the Project Pat verse because I thought he killed it, style wise, everything. And I like the fact that Mike is feeling himself a little bit, pause, just off winning the Grammy. He's talking about that. He's out there, he's bragging a little bit. He's showing he feels different now that he won his Grammy, did the jig dance on the Grammy stage in front of millions of people, and he's okay with that. But the fact that he dropped this as a follow-up to a Grammy-winning album, I thought it was like a Lucy for the most part, to let people still know I'm still Killer Mike, I'm still dope, and I won a Grammy. That's my takeaway from the album itself. Cool. Take us home with this one, man. Give us an intricate perspective from your side of the house.
I say all of this respectfully. Do you consider Killer Mike to be an A-list caliber MC?
Absolutely.
He's on the A-list.
Not. He's tap dancing on it, no pun intended, but I don't think he is.
Why do you do this, man?
It felt right. I ain't gonna lie.
I don't think he's like, I think he's clearly, and there's no disrespect, I think he's clearly B. I don't think he's on the fringe of being A, I just think he's clearly a B tier.
AG, I would agree with you, except for the guys that are on the quote unquote B tier. Of all those guys that I would consider to be on the B tier instead of the A, I don't think there's a guy that crosses over the line of giving you A-level verses at times the way Killer Mike does, though. And so I get what Sean is saying about tap dancing on the line. I do understand fundamentally what you're saying. Knowing who you are as a person and your
he's trying to be funny, cool. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Be funny. This is my sights and thoughts, right or wrong.
Knowing your intentionalities, you're wrong as usual. But that's not anything new to me or AG.
Wow. I told you, no days off from being a jerk. That's Sean.
How about this? Do you remember him on Good Morning with Black Thought and Pusha T?
Yeah.
Well, he has the best verse, and I do consider Pusha T and Black Thought to be on the A-list. Black Thought would be at close to the top of the A-list. Pusha T probably objectively would be somewhere at the bottom, but both A-list. And he had a better verse than both of them. So he has those type of capabilities for a verse to come out and show out like that. But I felt after listening to this project and after watching our last show where we were talking about Big Sean, that Mike's problem isn't the songs. It's not even necessarily the albums. It's not the verses. It's the fact that identifiably, we don't really connect to him because we really don't know who he is, much like Big Sean. He doesn't have a connecting point or a connecting thread to him. And that's why when we were even talking about top 10 Atlanta MCs, I was just ringing off the guys because those guys have something about them that makes you feel more connected to them. And they always have. And so I feel like he actually has some of Big Sean's their first world problems, but in hip hop terms, in terms of your all-time classification and rank and the era that you exist in, I feel like he has the same issues Sean had because it's like, I want you all to ask yourself this. And if you can answer it, go ahead. Who is Killer Mike to you? In hip hop terms, who is Killer Mike? It's like Andre is a poet and a thinker and a philosopher. You know what I mean? Big Boy is a pimp and a player with that smooth Atlanta talk, like to you. Like even if he's not that, T.I. and Jeezy represent the hustle and the struggle and the trap. You get what I'm saying? I'm just talking about Atlanta artists. You know what I'm saying? Future represents the new wave. What does Killer Mike represent in hip hop terms for who he is as an MC that you can identify it? Because I think that might actually be his biggest problems. Because he makes solid projects. All the Run the Jewels projects are dope.
Good point.
He's only made a few albums, but all the albums have actually been good to great, depending on how you feel. So it's not like he's necessarily missing anything. But do you feel connected to Mike?
I'm with you all the way up until Michael. I think that's why Michael got the love that it got, because it was very personal. He dove a little bit deeper into, you know, who he is as a man and subject matter and those sorts of things. But I think, to answer your question, like, not maybe to hip hop as a whole, but to Atlanta sonically, and the route that he took on Michael, I feel like he's trying to portray himself as the soul, quote unquote, of Atlanta. You know what I mean? Very gospel oriented tracks, the subject matter, and you know, like you said, big boy pimpish, and then, you know, that sort of thing. I think Mike wants to market himself as the soul of Atlanta, you know, and that, you know, that's what I took away from it.
I can dig that. And that might be an accurate assessment. But what I would tell you is I think CeeLo is that to a lot of people.
I was thinking about Goody Mob when I said it. CeeLo has the belt.
That's what I mean. So CeeLo does it at an A-list level. It's like, Mike, how about this? Mike's verse of the year contenders, because he has them in his catalog, and CeeLo's verse of the year contenders, they make the same type of verse of the year contender.
No,
it's done with soul.
It is different.
You know? And because CeeLo can sing, he has an advantage. He has an inherent advantage over Mike. I'm not saying it's fair,
but we haven't seen CeeLo in a good while. You know,
no, he's up there. Like, for me, as far as like Atlanta MCs, I only have Andre and Big Boy ahead.
No, I'm just saying we haven't seen him in a while. Like, he's not as active these days. So
got short arms too. Let me get this super chat real quick.
There's something wrong with him, man. Like, why do you do that?
Nothing to
do. You don't have. So CeeLo don't have short arms. So
read the super chat, bro.
Brandon Rogers, y'all think I'm a bad. Brandon Rogers.
Hold on. Before you
box with God.
Before you do, RJ may have called the point. Great point, RJ. He says CeeLo has personality, Killer Mike doesn't.
Yes,
I agree with that.
Absolutely. Brandon Rogers, $10 super chat. Did you guys peep the Larry June project? Happy 51st birthday to hip hop. Indeed, happy 51st birthday to hip hop for sure. And the Larry June project is dope. It is definitely dope. We're probably going to talk about that a little bit when we get into this Benny joint.
Larry June is my favorite new West Coast artist. Like, as far as the guys that have come out, like let's say like post like the Nipsey, Schoolboy Q, Kendrick, like all those guys flooding.
Larry June's tough.
Larry June's my favorite guy from this era of all the guys.
Oh yeah.
I love Larry June's shit.
So here's what I say, and then we can rate the Killer Mike joint. I think both you guys are right, and you smoked that, man, because I do think that he doesn't have a true identity. When I think about Big Mike, I look at him as the ground level trooper from Dungeon Family, right? You got the Dungeon Family, you got Outkast, and you got Goody Mob. I look at them as the bigger threat, right? The ones who come out there, give you everything. Classic album, dope albums, etc. You know, charisma, moxie, all of that. Then I look at Killer Mike as a ground level threat guy, where he's more of a setup guy, or he's like more of the little man's to big boy. That's how I looked at him, and I think that he's always kind of, you know, went back and forth on what he wanted to be, where he wanted to be. I think he did the activism thing for a little while. He was kind of on the whole Bernie Sanders coattails stuff a few years ago.
For a little while.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, like it's almost to the point where he wants to be a revolutionist. He wants to be a militant. He wants to be a lyricist. He wants to be a pimp. He wants to be a hustler. You hear all of these different things that he expresses in his music, and not one of those things to me stick to your ribs. Like, none of those things to me lands. It it's there, but it doesn't land.
So its biggest problem might be that it's like, well, you know, he is the son to a woman who was a police officer, but he's also somebody who hustled in the streets. So there are some conflicting emotions that probably come from that. He's also a college educated man, is what you get what I'm saying. So there might be some conflicting things, but here's the thing about it is that, like, when other artists are those things, the greatest of artists kind of pull those things together, like a Tupac. You know what I'm saying? Like they pull their education and their street knowledge together, and give you something formalized creatively in the form of an MC that embodies something that you connect to and feel. And so I don't mind the conflicting reports because he's had conflicting lifestyles. Most of us as Black men coming up in inner city environments do, but that still got to find a way to connect. And so my thing is that where does he connect? Does he connect to the underground super lyrical backpack crowd? It's like, well, kinda. Does he connect to the soulful crowd? Well, kinda. You know what I'm saying? Does he connect in the terms of being relevant in the hip hop sphere? To a degree, yes, because he's been viable for. Yeah, but does it stick? Is he the guy that you walk around talking about and want to like? There hasn't been a point in his career where I think he's been looked upon even in this city as the best. And so where does that place him all time when you've never even been the man in this city? And at some point, Andre, Big Boy, Luda, T.I., Future, Thug.
He never had a moment.
He never had that moment. And when you're around all of these guys and coming off the heels of the Dungeon family, which is Big Boy, CeeLo, Andre, Gipp, like all those guys, it's just hard to place him.
I agree.
It's hard to place him because of that, because all those guys had a moment. No, T.I. had a moment where he was the man in the city. Jeezy, even Jeezy and 2 Chainz, who technically aren't as good as an MC as he is, but they've had that moment where they've taken this city.
Yeah.
Thug is not Killer Mike on the mic, but his moment in the city has been way bigger.
Yeah, I'm seeing the whole crux of your point, Coop. And as far as like B-level MCs or whatever, if I'm doing this comparison might seem random as hell, but let's take Sheik for example. We talked about the Lox last episode. I would put him in that B tier. This is the benefit of being in a group within being instead of being a soloist, because nobody's running around asking like, yo, we really don't know who Sheik is. We see like, him as the tough guy in the Lox or whatever, which, they often give off that vibe. But as far as on a personal level, what do you represent in this space? Nobody's asking for that because you have that image. You can hide behind the image of a group versus Killer Mike being a soloist, even though he's part of a collective in the Dungeon family. Collective and a group's two totally different things. Right. He has to set himself apart as a soloist as far as what he represents. So I do see the argument that you're bringing to the table, but I just think, that we hold, a soloist with that issue like Big Sean or Killer Mike to a higher standard than we have somebody who's within a group that may have released solo records, but we're not going to still say like, yo, you got to give us like really who you are. You know what I mean?
And that's a perfect segue into Benny, because I want you to hold that thought on Sheik as well. That's a perfect segue to Benny. You guys want to rate this one real quick? Let me get the super chat from Mad Max. Mad Max is wild out in the chat right now.
Yeah, Mad Max
is wild now. He said Glorilla is the his greatest rapper of all time. Larry Snooze was never dope. His LP is full of yo, Mad Max is bugging, man. Mad Max said that
Mad Max, you just stay in the comments. You just stay in the comments.
Mad Max is wild, man.
We need to make it a point. We need to make it a point to never give Mad Max a platform. It's never going to be the same if he's given his own platform one day. I want to let you know. The theme of this show is we don't. The theme of this show is we don't trust you, and Mad Max, you're at the top of my we don't trust you list. You supersede Sean. I've had to listen to you. I've had.
And that's saying something.
Mad Max. I've had to listen to your fuckery longer than I've had to listen to Sean's fuckery. See, I've only had to listen to Sean's fuckery for 2 years. I've been listening to your fuckery for 4 years.
I'm here to support.
You're at the top of my list. We don't trust you.
I'm here to support.
When I make the We Don't Trust You mixtape, the first song is gonna be called Max is Mad. It's the first record on the We Don't Trust You mixtape.
Yo, man, shout out to my homeboy LG, man. Put my shades on real quick, cause y'all talking.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Shades on, man.
I already got a headache, bro. Can we go to the next topic?
Let's go to the next segment, please.
So the next segment, as I wear my shades,
we can see you wearing your shades. You don't have to notify people that you are wearing the shades. The shades are on.
Yo, as I
came with props to the Sunday show.
as I so ever gently wear my shades, we're gonna go ahead and go to the next topic.
Gently is wild.
Gently?
Double
Did you
07.
say
Queens
gently?
get the money. As I ever so gently put on my shades. I'm gonna read this super chat.
I can't
Who is
deal with
this?
this guy.
Is he Slick Rick doing Lottie Dottie for us? Like, who is
Y'all
this?
really can't see it. My shades too dark. Let me take my shades off real quick. Queens get the money. That new biddy just gave me time. Wish it was which was 45 of that, not the 25 that it is. Either Wasu better than the last effort. Appreciate you, 007.
What up, Double O?
Double O, Queens get the money. Yo,
We're
LP
going to Benny.
crazy.
Are we on Benny now?
Yeah, let's get to Benny. Let me put my shades back on real quick so y'all can take me
Please
seriously,
don't.
man.
Please don't. We don't
All
take
right.
it seriously.
So, shout out to my shades though. So, Benny, cool. I want you to guide us through this, man. You took a picture with Benny. You had a chance to meet Benny. Guide us through this, man, because I know my man AG got some thoughts on it, some skating thoughts, and
Who said they were skating? Like, making stuff up.
behind the scenes. So I want to prepare the chat so y'all can go back.
Shot is wild.
So Mad to the album is weak. So cool. I want you to, if you don't mind, man, I want you to take the lead, man, and guide us through this one, bro.
I think Benny, you know who Benny is to people? Benny is like that 5-tool prospect coming up in a farm system for a team. And the projections for somebody like a Benny, when you hear him and hear some of his early material where he really starts coming on the scene, 2016, 2017, 2018, you hear somebody and you're like, man, this is a potential 5-tool player and MVP winner. This is somebody that could hit 350 in a season. This is somebody that can get you 40 plus home runs in a season, get you 120 RBIs in a season. You know what I'm saying? Get you 50 doubles in a season, because that's what you hear talent wise. And so when that guy hits 300 instead of 350, you're like, oh, it's not what it's supposed to be. Or when that guy gets 30 home runs instead of 40 home runs, you're like, oh, he's not maxing out his potential. When he gets 100 RBIs instead of 120, 130 RBIs, you're like, eh. But then you look at it and it's like, no, but he still hit 30 home runs with 100 RBI and hit 300. And that would put him in the top tier of players. And so I think a lot of what is happening to Benny career-wise is because of what we have projected him to be in the media. As an MC, he may not have lived up to those expectations. But when I actually look back at it, and this is what I want to have a conversation about, it's actually having a really, really, really dope rap career. This project is good. I actually like this project better than Everybody Can't Go. And it's funny because it's like the beats aren't better. The rhymes aren't better. But it feels better. The rhymes are comparable.
Yeah.
If you feel like one is better than the other or the other better than the other, the rhymes are comparable. This feels better. It does. It feels better. Like, I understand Hit Boy and Alchemist did the other project. But part of what Benny is what you need to buy into. And so his hustler talk is his best talk. And it also almost feels like when he's not dealing with the expectations of having to live up to something, and he just makes the music that he wants to make, when he just makes the music that he wants to make, those are his best results. Like, here's my takeaway from this project on a music level. If you actually if Everybody Can't Go doesn't exist, but he makes Braun and Big Dog with Lil Wayne and puts it on this project, that's an album of the year contender, in my opinion. Because I would tell you that project with those two songs, like this project with those two songs added to it, I mean, I wrote our top 10 back down. I would easily slide that album somewhere between 4, 5, and 6 this year, with Blue Lips, One of One by Gunna, and Blacks and Whites, because I feel this project. And I think the expectations are what's actually hurting him the most. And I'm going to pass it to one of you, and I just want you all to tell me what you think of this. I'm going to list 6 albums that he's made for you. And then I'm going to ask you, if Method Man, Jadakiss, and Fabulous have 6 albums of this quality.
Man, Coop, this is crazy. Like
Hold
when you
on.
talk, Coop, me and Coop are like in alignment right
That's
now.
what I want.
So,
That's
Hold
what I
on.
want to hear from you. That's what I want to
on.
hear from you.
we're in perfect alignment, Coop. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So he has Summertime Butch, Everybody Can't Go, Burden of Proof, Tana Talk 3 and 4, and Plugs I Met. All 6 of those projects to me are a 4-ish or higher, or somewhere in the realm of. Do Fab Meth and Kiss have 6 projects in that 4 range?
Not 6. No.
Yes. No.
6.
Not 6.
Not 6.
You're talking dangerous right now, Cool.
Yeah, you was
No,
cooking like.
I'm just asking
Dangerous,
people
Cool.
to put it in perspective. Does Kiss have 6 projects? Like name Kiss best 6 projects. Name Meth best 6 projects. Name Fab's best
Yep.
6 projects.
No.
Talking
No,
dangerous.
I'm with you. That's what That's what my thoughts are in perfect alignment with. If you want to go, Sean, you can go next, or
Hold on real quick. Like, and I don't even mean to be too long with it, but I have to get this out. Also, too, Benny talks in a manner where some of the shit you have to live or be around or grow up in or have done to feel. So some people may not feel Benny to his fullest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna tell you something on Higher. When he's like, you should fuck with us. Come fuck with us. That's real hustler talk. That's how a lot of some of the people that I've been around, that's how they talk to you. Coop, you should come fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how real hustler talk. He talks like a real hustler. And so you have to have been around it, dealt with it, did it sometimes to really understand the nuances, the way that he's talking. That's part of what made Jay so special. Jay's the first person to make that talk relatable. The expectation since Jay is to make the talk relatable. It's not a relatable conversation because it's not a comfortable conversation. That's why Jay is special. But that's hustler talk when he's talking between, you should come fuck with us. That's how hustlers talk. Like, that's how real street dudes talk out here. That you should come fuck with me. Or if you don't see him in a while, it's like, yo, Coop, you don't fuck with me? Why don't you come fuck with us? Like, that's how real hustlers talk when they're outside. He embodies that, and he actually talks like that on record. And so it's something that not everybody is going to gravitate to because you don't understand the nuances of it if you haven't dealt with it. So you're just looking at him on rap terms, and he represents something different in terms of what he's providing the streets. You know what I mean? That's why he's telling you on Higher, no, we feed the streets. It's like, no, like certain type of dudes is going to like listen to me talking this and like feel this differently, you know? And so his biggest problem may be that when he tries to go too big, very much like a Jadakiss, it doesn't always yield the best results. But when he sticks in the framework of what he does, like Kiss doing the Who Shot Ya verse on Verses, oh no, that's right in pocket with what he does best. When you let him do what he does best, he sounds like one of the best. When you let Benny do what he does best, he sounds like one of the best for this era. I enjoyed this project. I think Higher is the best album closer of his career and one of his best songs. It has not at the same level because it's the highest level. But when I hear Higher, I'm like, that's the type of record Jay would have made in his prime.
Higher is my personal favorite of the album.
Oh, it's the best song on the album.
Easy.
And the way they close the album is strong because some of the best stuff is on the back end, actually.
It is.
Yeah. I disagree with that best song, but I'll get to that in a minute. You care if I go, Sean?
Yeah, please. Let me get the super chat real quick.
Okay.
We got hold on, who did I miss? Mad Max said Benny Joint was weak, higher than Beth's Joint. Mad Max also said Coop Stop, all Kiss LPs, any better than any Benny project, all Fab Soul takes ripped to the competition. Real talk project, Ghetto Fab, better than Benny projects. I forgot the other name you said, but better to stop it. Mad Max is not a big Benny fan. As you guys,
I was glad he brought up Fab. Like Coop, Coop, you cooked that, and I was sitting here cheesing the whole time because I was like, you're in perfect alignment with what I had to say, but in a different way, right? So going with that, the key word you said was trajectory. You know what I mean? So I think with Benny, we got to alter his ceiling than what we initially had it at, right? Because where everybody can't go, when it came out, now granted, he put a lot of that on himself. First major label release, Def Jam, biggest thing since DMX dropped is Dark and Hell is High. A lot of those wounds were self-inflicted, right? But if that was his short foray into becoming a star, which when we all heard Griselda as a collective, and this parallels the Locks talk when we said, like, yo, Jada, he might be the star of the three. Like, we need to push him to the forefront. When we heard Benny, it was the same type of energy. Like, yo, he needs to be pushed to the forefront. He's a star. So I feel like Everybody Can't Go was supposed to be the culmination of all that. Like, this is the star. He's being pushed to the forefront. And I think that was a short foray into that, but it was a little bit of a disappointment. But I think let's call that Benny's zenith in that, arena.
Hold on.
As far as being a star.
If Everybody Can't Go is a disappointment, then the expectations aren't realistic.
For what we thought his ceiling to be.
It's not a bad album though.
No, not by any means, no. So I think we need to alter where his ceiling is, because to your point, Coop, his ceiling as a star rapper in the hip hop space versus this project being perfectly in his wheelhouse. You know what I mean? So like, and some of that might be due to the Griselda sound, but the kind of talk like you alluded to on this album, even though the beats are not as lush and everything like that, in my opinion, Benny doesn't have to be a star. You know what I mean? We need to change that trajectory. Jada Kiss, some people say Kiss the Game Goodbye was a disappointment because he was supposed to be that star. But Jada Kiss is still one of the greatest of all time. I'm glad you brought up Fab as well as Mad Max, because when Fab first came out, people were touting him as the next Jay-Z, right? And Fab had a very good commercial push. But if you look into that version of Fab versus the Loso's Way tape and then the Summertime Shootout mixtapes, that guy is better. If we stop putting this on Fab to kind of be this commercially viable artist, then and let him get into his street raps. And granted, it's the music business, you in it to make money. But the ceiling that we want him to reach on the commercial side maybe is not realistic, and they're missing the mark. But if you go by their other material over here that's more in their wheelhouse, then to me, they're better. You know what I mean? So that's the point I had to make comparing him to Fab and comparing him to Jadakiss, because sometimes the trajectory is not always met. And so I think we got to kind of take that down a little bit for where Benny's ceiling is. I think that Everybody Can't Go is his zenith as far as into the commercial space, but as far as just like as a rapper, I think this project was more in his wheelhouse, and I enjoyed it, to your point, Coop, more than Everybody Can't Go. It's more enjoyable.
I disagree, AG, because he was the one who said that we should hold him up there. He was the one who said that this is. So we got to hold him to that. It's not saying let's bring it down because you have underdelivered or you underperformed. I don't think that he's underperformed or underdelivered. I think Benny is who Benny is. When you think about someone like Jada, and Jada came off and we talked about this in on Thursday. Jada came off the heels of those saying that he was next up. Mm-hmm. He was one of those that Jay said it, Big said it, Nas said it. You had the Trinity at that time who was saying that this guy Jada, this guy Kiss, he's one of one. And he was proving that because he was smoking every track. I wouldn't even put Benny over Styles P, because if I look at Gangsta and the Gentleman as a complete project, I think Gangsta and the Gentleman project is better than anything Benny put out as an MC. As an MC. I'm not even counting the countless mixtapes that Styles P put out that was like flawless, if you will. Ghost in the Shell, Ghost in the Machine, all of those things. So it's easy to say that, yes, we can blow the bar for Benny, but that's not fair to Benny as well, because Benny said the bar should be high for him based on the lyrical output.
Well,
Can he rhyme?
the thing about yourself, you got to be self-aware sometimes.
Hold
So,
on, hold on.
You
Respectfully,
do.
Sean, to what you're saying though, let's say A Gangster and Gentleman is better than all of Benny's best 6 projects that I just named. But Styles don't have 6 projects that good. Like, let's cut the
the
mixtape stuff
quantity
out.
of it, yeah,
Quantity.
Styles don't have 6 projects that sound as good as Benny's 6 best projects. Because I'm
that's a
asking
fact.
you legitimately. I'm asking
Slap
you
boxing.
legitimately. It's like, show me the 6 fabulous release albums, because it's like you're gonna
It's
have to
not
bring
there.
soul tape shit into it. Show me the 6 Jadakiss albums. Show me
That's
the
my
6
point.
Method Man albums.
And
So,
when you dipping into the soul tapes and then those type of things, that's more the wheelhouse that we're going to pull from, not these big commercial releases that these guys are like touted as the next big stars, and then they're falling short. You know, when you let them stay in their wheelhouse, then you're looking at it in a bad way where I'm saying lower the bar. I'm just saying let Benny be who Benny is and stay in his wheelhouse, and he's
But
going
he
to
don't
give
want
us
that.
great material.
He don't want that. That's the thing. He doesn't want that. He want to be as one of the elites. And I don't think he hasn't separated himself enough from his own group.
Okay,
Because
that's fair.
Conway is right there. And that's the same thing that happened with Jada and Styles P.
And Westside makes better projects than all.
Yes, we put Styles P to the
hold on,
forefront
but hold on.
because he's Pinero Kiss. He's
Now,
Pinero.
I knew this was going to happen, but then I'm going to turn around and ask you, well, name the 6 West Side Gun and Conway projects better than the 6 Benny albums that I just named you. Because sometimes I feel like even when we're talking about West Side and Conway, well, understand 3 of the albums I just gave you have come out in the last 18 months.
Yeah.
And so
Okay,
there is
that's
a
fair.
thing has things changing. So it's like, no, if you're saying
I don't know, man.
2-3 years ago, Conway and Westside have a better album catalog than Benny? Well, the answer is like, yes, they do.
I would say Westside, but not Conway.
I think Conway does.
Say that today though? Can you say that today clearly? Because like AG, just to play the game with you, it's like, well, Westside's best 3 albums are probably better.
But you have to give it to Benny because of the rapping ability.
Well, what I'm saying is that Westside's best 3 projects are probably better than maybe anything that Benny's made. But does he have 6 projects better? Because Benny has 6 dope projects, in my opinion. It's not easy to do. You don't like Plugs I Met?
I like all of them, but I don't think that I can't look at them as good to great. I look at them as he's a steady Eddie guy. To me, he's steady Eddie.
That's what I mean about him consistently giving you a 4, though. Some of our best MCs who we literally laud and applaud over, like a Method Man, a Fabulous, and a Jadakiss, don't have 6 albums that are a 4. AZ don't have 6 albums that's a 4.
I think that's a tough comparison, though. I think that's a really tough comparison.
Do I think he's A on the mic? No. Do I think he's Meth on the mic? No. Do I think he's Kiss on the mic? No. Does he make better projects? He might.
Okay, let me ask you this real quick.
He's showing the propensity to. His last 3 projects haven't been album of the year, but they've all been 4s.
Let me ask you this, Coop. What I'm talking about the wheelhouse is you're a Pusha T guy.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't start touting Pusha T as a star until he started standing next to Kanye. But, you know, even with that said, Pusha T's ceiling was only so high at that time in his zenith, and he made, you know, classic records as a soloist and a duo to boot, right? But Pusha T is something about him that's more interesting than Benny the Butcher. You know what I mean? So it's like,
he's more fascinating as an artist, yes.
Right. So somebody like Pusha, we have to, his ceiling might have been a little bit raised a little bit higher based on standing next to Kanye. And then he still doesn't have like a, you know, platinum albums and this and that. So somebody might say he fell short, but that's more viable to apply to Pusha than it is to somebody like Benny, in my opinion. And if people would let Benny just stay in his wheelhouse, I think Benny would be fine. But you have to be self-aware. Like I was telling Sean, Benny thinks he's still going to be a star. And I don't think that that's in the cards for him just because of today's climate.
Okay, so that's what I mean.
Let me get the super chat real quick.
Go ahead.
I don't want to get too far behind on it. Ill Magic said if he had some of these songs on Everybody Can't Go album, it probably would still be on my list for best rap album of the year so far. Michael Williams, appreciate you, bro. Benny is not Fab. Conway and Benny both got ate up by Fab on Brooklyn Chop House.
That's
That's
a
one
verse,
record though.
fam. That's a
Yeah.
verse, fam. Like Fab in a vacuum in a verse can eat a lot of guys up. Like he's got a whole
Absolutely.
project. He's
That's
got a
fact.
project. He's got a whole project with Jadakiss where some of the better verses go to Fab. I'm not saying he doesn't do it.
Indeed.
I'm not saying the Freddie
He
versus
got Kiss
Jason.
on that project.
The Freddie versus Jason, like Fab's verse on Soul Food, might be my favorite verse on the entire project. So he has those type of capabilities. That's why I'm bringing him up, because much like sometimes, how about this? Benny got the better verse than Kiss on Gods Don't Bleed. He's got very much some of the same capabilities Fab has.
Yeah, this project, I didn't get to my favorite too. I forgot real quick. Mine are Nightfall. I like that, but my favorite joint it's not a deep concept, but I think Kitchen Table was really, really dope. That's my favorite by far on that. Like when he flipped that, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we talk about the Pyrex, blah, blah. And that whole concept based around the kitchen table, I was like, man, this is the one for me. Like that joint's really dope. I just wish it had another verse.
It's dope. Look, man, Benny is a rapper's rapper.
Yes.
He's a rapper's rapper.
Yes.
I don't want to confuse that with having a total package. Pause. You know what I mean? Because if you think about the total package of an MC, there's still something that he's missing, total package wise.
You know what I heard?
I agree.
It's hard for me, Coop, to say that he has six legit dope albums. It's hard for me to say that.
I agree with you to a degree, but what I would tell you is that his biggest drawback at this point, based on the last 3 albums and 3 albums that he had made in a 5-year stretch before that, is the time in which he exists in. But how about this? Let me submit something to you. If he exists in 2010, the way that he exists now as a New York rapper, where would you have him as a New York rapper? Because what I would tell you is that he would probably be number 1.
Yeah, in a different era it would be
unless you feel a certain type of way about Kiss at that point. So I feel like he's existing in the wrong era, because I feel like he would be more respected and more regarded as a rap star in a different era. Because, like, let's not confuse it. Jadakiss doesn't have any real big hits other than Why. And as much as I love Method Man, most of his hits involve guest appearances. Him as an actual hit maker.
Nah, We Gonna Make It and Knock Yourself Out were pretty good hits.
Huge.
No,
yeah.
They're pretty big. They're not huge.
And then that one with Mariah was pretty huge too. That Kiss.
He's got some stuff. Don't get me wrong. He was also coached by Puff.
Cool.
You know what
True.
I'm saying?
Kiss got about 10 to 15 in the clip. Like,
I agree.
Kiss,
he's able to do 2 verses for a reason.
Sean, you know damn well that Kiss' best stuff ain't his commercial stuff, and that's the point that I'm making.
That's true.
The stuff that we rank Kiss for all time ain't got nothing to do with no Knock Yourself Out or Why.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, stay in that wheelhouse. But Sean, I agree with Coop more that about the 6 projects. You say you have trouble like saying like, yo, he has 4 projects, 4-star projects, but it's only one flaw with that. I agree with Coop, but it's only one flaw with that. A lot of these projects are very short,
and
very short.
It's in the same wheelhouse. The range.
I don't have no problem with the range. Okay, I'm with you on that. But if I'm cool with him staying in his wheelhouse, that's my whole point. But my only flaw is like saying he got 6 4-star projects. A lot of these, if you're a major artist, a lot of these songs are going to bleed over into the same project. So, I mean, the way the Griselda came into the game was releasing these, 7, 8 song joints and then put them out as complete projects. And I think that lends to him being able to do that a little bit more. But I do agree with what Coop's saying, though.
Well, we're talking about a micro piece of that. We're talking about projects that have 7 to 8 songs, 9 to 10 songs, and we're classifying them as 4 stars. I don't see them as 4 stars.
Okay,
yeah, this project is only 24 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So, like, but I still agree with Coop in the sentiment. But that would be my only like asterisk or caveat about it is, the stuff that we are calling full projects.
So the projects are short. They're like 6, 7, 8 songs of recording material, some of his best stuff. Some of the joints are longer, like Burden of Proof, Tana Talk 3 and 4. Those are full length players.
Yeah,
Okay?
Burden of Proof's about like what 11 tracks or something. But
let's go with the full length. Let's go with the pause. Let's go with the actual, not an EP.
He's going toe to toe with Black Thought on Crowns for Kings.
Yeah.
He can rap.
But my point is comparing
with Jadakiss on Gods Don't Bleed. He boxes back and forth with Conway all the time. He raps at a high level.
But my point is comparing.
No, because dudes is trying to make it seem like he can't walk in and spit with like Fab.
No, he can't.
Yes, he can.
Absolutely.
But in some ways, it's comparing apples to oranges because Jadakiss's albums have like 20 a clip, and it's more room for error. Like it's 19 tracks, 18 tracks.
But my biggest problem, AG, with Jadakiss projects is it's like, yo, fam, if you would just cut about 5 or 6 songs out, and
meet somewhere in the middle.
I don't disagree with that either.
Yeah, that's
so
a
we
fact.
can't knock Benny for doing what Kiss didn't do.
I think the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle. Pause, but
how about this? I'm posing this question because when I'm saying, do I think he's better than Jadakiss? That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
Do I think he's better than Method Man? Oh, hell no. I don't believe that. I believe very few rappers, when they rap at their peak, if Method Man raps at his peak, can even fuck with Meth on the mic. Because when he ascends to the very highest level as in top 5, 10 type of rap performer. But I do think that you can start having some conversations because he continues to make high quality projects. And the main thing that we rate our great MCs on more than anything else is their ability to make dope albums. The main reason all of us for the last couple of years that have been having these conversations on YouTube have said clearly that Nas is better than Jay-Z has nothing to do with rapping ability and everything to do with the quality of projects just made. And so he is making quality projects. Like the last 3 projects have all been quality and worth listening to and playing. That's what I'm saying. And for somebody that raps at his level, I'm giving you some guys who don't make projects that consistently as good.
But like I said, do you feel like he's reached his zenith as far as projects? Do you feel like he's reached his zenith as far as putting projects together? Like, I think people are clamoring for something that we've seen the apex of already.
Okay, so let's say none of the projects, the last 4 projects have been a classic, okay? Because they're not. Have all of the projects been good? Yeah. How many rappers are walking around in this era that made 4 straight dope projects? Because people act like these guys is
only Nas. I mean, if you're talking about the Hit Boy run,
his last 4 projects have been dope.
No, Freddie.
I mean, so can I tell you something? I don't think Freddie's made a bad project.
No, he hasn't. And Freddie's albums, Freddie's discography of albums, I put over Benny's.
Okay, so here's the thing: Freddie's discography of albums to me is better than Kiss, better than Fab, better than Meth, better than Styles. It's got a better catalog than all of those guys. Yeah, it's got a better catalog than most of these guys walking around. I could even give you an argument, may not be as important, but his catalog in a lot of ways might be better than a Ross or a Jeezy or a T.I. because those guys' best albums caps out at about 3, 4, 5, and he's like on dope project number 7.
Jeezy, I might give you, but T.I. and Ross, that's a stretch. And I know Sean don't like Ross, but Ross's discography is crazy.
It is crazy. Like, how about this? Ross makes better songs than Freddie. But that's what I'm saying. Ross don't have 7 albums that's as good as Freddie's best 7 album. Not 7. Freddie's deep into his album catalog at this point as far as consistently giving you a quality project. And it's the music business. They're making albums for a reason because that is how you project yourself to the masses. If you could just do this, ain't like 1959. You can't just do singles and call yourself the best. You can't just have great records and be the best anymore. The music business doesn't exist like that anymore. It's a reason that albums exist.
What you got, Sean? You deep in thought over there?
Because I'm trying to understand something.
Sean don't have no deep thoughts. Do not give him credit like that.
Where my glasses at, man?
See what I'm saying about how he doesn't have deep thoughts? He's worried about where his glasses are.
Check it.
He got ADD over there.
Wait, look, because I was about to lose my shit, man. Listen, we talking about these 6 projects that are dope and classics this and classic that. But where did these guys rank on the all-time list? We don't have that same energy for them in the top 25, top 40. We have other rappers way ahead of them who has a lesser discography than they have. So help me understand where this discography is coming from when it comes to, look, we can't confuse dope projects with a classic or an overall phenomenal catalog, because we can say that about a lot of the legends out there. They have a dope catalog, but to say that Freddie has this, that Benny has, and all of this, but we don't rank them high enough in the pantheon of our hip hop, then what are we talking about? Like, I want to understand where's the
That's
miss.
why I said the bar got to be lowered a little bit, and then you said no. So
why we lowering the bar though? That's what I'm saying. Why we lowering the bar? I want to understand.
I'm just recognizing where people accurately belong in that pantheon versus saying, oh, they should be here, they should be there. You know what I mean?
Okay, so here's where all I'm saying is it's conversational.
Okay.
And
That's
I
fair.
actually learned this from Taj. Like, shout out to Taj. Taj and I, about a year ago, were having an argument about a certain topic, about where I had somebody ranked all time. And she's like, you can't do that, Coop, because he doesn't have the moments that those other guys that you're comparing him to have had. And so when we're talking about Freddie and when we're talking about Benny right now, what they're lacking isn't the album material necessarily. They're lacking the moments. They don't have the moments that Jadakiss has had. They don't have the moments that Method Man has had. And they haven't made the hits. And the hits are part of the moments. You know what I'm saying?
Everything can't go. Everybody can't go. Was supposed to be a moment, but it wasn't.
Right. You still have to have those moments. But all I'm saying is they may not have those moments to supersede those guys, but understand they're also doing something that's special and hard to do in this craft, which is consistently making good rap albums for the populace, even if it's for a smaller populace that's not as familiar. There is still something to be said for that. So I have Freddie? Do I have Freddie and Benny over Method Man and Jadakiss on my all-time list? No.
But your key word is consistent. Consistent is your key word.
But that's what I'm saying. There is something to be said for the consistency. Like, yeah, Jadakiss and Method Man's you know, highest of highs might be top 5 all-time MC material. Are Freddie and Benny that? Like, no. Now go ask Method Man and Jadakiss to make 4, 5, or 6 great straight dope projects, because that hasn't happened yet either.
So you're taking off more points for the range, Sean. That's what you're doing. You're saying they don't have the range of those guys.
No, it's not about it's more than that, because I think we are lumping in production when it comes to this kind of conversation. Because is there any project that Jadakiss slept on lyrically? Out of all his projects, have we ever said, man, Jada did not come with it lyrically on that joint?
No, he does, and he's probably you could say that he might be the most consistent lyricist next to Black Thought that's ever lived in terms of consistency, which he delivers a stellar verse. But what I would also tell you is he may not have a whack verse, but where's Jadakiss's verbal intercourse? Where is his rap song? Where is his dead presidents or streets is watching lyrically? Where you got 3 verses where you're like, oh my God.
That's alien work though.
Where's his live at the barbecue? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if you really want to start like splitting hairs, we need to understand some things. It's like name a year. But okay, so Jadakiss is the most consistently lyrical performer on the mic in terms of the consistency of the bars, other than Black Thought, in my opinion. Is that a fair assessment to you all?
Yeah, but Jada's in my top 5. His strength is when he's next to other people, like in a group or a feature, and he has the biggest moments in those instead of a solo. Instead of a solo.
Let me ask you something though, both of you. Name a time Jadakiss had the verse of the year. Name it. That's my point. So for as great as he's been lyrically, he's never had a moment where we're like, that's the verse of the year.
How about Benny? When did Benny have the verse of the year?
That's why I'm saying you can have the conversation. In a lot of ways, he does the same thing Jadakiss does. He just doesn't have the moments, but he also never had the backing that Kiss walked into this game with.
Yeah. And speaking of which, like we talking
Where's his
verse of the year, I'm liking
where's
that.
Jadakiss's verse of the year though, guys? That's what I'm saying. Like he's consistent and we know it, but where's that moment since we're talking about moments?
Well, Benny caught a lot of flack for the Cole having the verse of the year on his project, but I do like that he addressed it on the Blue Building track, where he was saying like, "Yo, that's my people. We have a real relationship," and y'all acting like he was going at me on that song. So I'm glad he addressed that,
So
because that was a thing for a while.
Even with that, Nas may have had the best verse ever on Ray's album, but Ray was in the middle of making one of the greatest rap albums we've ever heard, so we never really knock Ray for Nas having that verse on Verbal Intercourse. Nobody looks at Ray the way they looking at Benny. You know what I'm saying? And that might be the level that he's missing, is because, well, if Tana Talk 4 is an end-to-end classic, ain't nobody talking about Cole smoking him on that verse, because nobody really talks about Nas smoking Ray and Ghost on Verbal Intercourse. They talk about how great it would be if they had more songs together.
Right. If we're in 2002, do you have the Major Look remix verse by Kiss? Where would you have that, like, as far as verse of the year contention? I don't think it's clear cut, but I think it's in the conversation.
That's separate enough.
It is. I think it's the best verse. AG, it's funny. That's actually the song that I was listening to before I came online, and I think it's one of his best verses, and I think it's the best verse on that song. And I think, if memory recalls, I had it as a top 5 verse that year.
That would be my pull if I was to say, okay, in this time frame, Jada had the verse of the year. You know,
you could argue that, like, just on a 16 bar like basis, it was up there that year. But look at you got to pull from that place. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's Kiss's best mic performance in terms of song?
I'm taking these notes because I'm bringing
Feel Me or Still Feel Me. One of those two.
I think it might be Feel Me. Feel Me might be my favorite, like, Kiss mic performance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that
take these notes real
that
quick.
top 20, 25 all time? Because he's in most people's like top 10 to 15. Does Kiss have a top 25 verse all time? I'm just asking questions. I'm not trying to knock him. I love Kiss. I listen to Kiss all the time.
No, I mean, he's one of the most consistent lyricists out there.
Yeah. Like, does he have a Life's a Bitch guest appearance?
No, but those are Zenith though. I mean, you're talking about alien work. Not 90%, 95% of the population doesn't have that.
Who is Kiss to you on the mic though? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's 95% of the population. He's supposed to exist in that top 5% though. So, like,
what year did his Mighty D Block feature come out in? What year was that?
I feel like that's
gotta be 03-ish,
04, 05.
I think that's a talk around that verse.
The Mighty D Block, like, I love Mighty D Block.
I
love
think
that whole record.
I just mean his best work was on mixtapes. I think some of his best mic performances are on mixtapes. You know, when the mixtape era was going on. But at the same time, we've heard, okay, think about Beanie. Beanie doesn't have a bad album in his catalog.
No, he does.
Right?
Not. No. So him and Benny and Beanie might be having some of the same issues. It's like, well, where does your best stuff like really rank all time?
Yes.
Because
Beanie was never a star either.
Because I think but
Charisma.
also too, but this is also what I'm saying. When he was rapping, like at his peak, the only guys that I actually knew were better, not thought were better, that I knew were better, were Jay and Nas when Benny was in his prime.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, Beanie, because Beanie short of Jay or Nas could take anybody's lunch money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let me get the super chat real quick. I don't think I got this one. Well, I think I missed a lot of them actually.
Y'all want to hear something? Hold on, real quick. You know what? I got a guy that I know from North Philly that actually knows Beans. Like, he actually came up with the Young Guns, and he was actually telling me that Beanie has been messing with the AI thing. So the AI thing ain't all bad, because Beanie's problem obviously has been, you know, the whole vocal situation.
Yeah.
So the AI, he's actually working with some AI stuff to try to put a project out, because, man, that guy.
Somebody need to send DOC that memo as well then.
Yeah,
I heard DLC's doing the same thing. I just got it confirmed from a direct source from North Philly that, like, he's actually, like, fucking with that. Like, somebody that knows the Young Guns, like, knows State Prop, knows the crew. Like, it's showing me pictures of him standing on the same block with Beans. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, in that case, it's more along the lines of auto tune, I guess, for a singer because you're tweaking your own voice and you're doing your own. When you're imitating somebody else is when I got a problem. You know what I mean?
Right. No, this is Beanie using it because
To
It
help
helps
his own voice.
situation.
yeah.
Right.
Now you
All
can
right,
go to
Matt.
Mad Max's punk ass super chat.
Come on, we need the support. Man, you got to chill on Kiss. Absolutely,
See?
man. You got to chill.
I'm not riding Kiss. I'm just opening up the conversation to a different perspective.
Kiss is crazy.
People, yeah, it's crazy. That's false. That's my
You did. And you looked into the camera when you said it too. I'm not.
But we have to just.
You said it into the mic too.
We have to have real objective conversations. Like, did you hear how I talked about Not Like Us earlier? That doesn't change the fact that you have the worst fan base.
Yeah, Kiss is in my top 5, and I don't disagree with a lot of the stuff you're saying. When that's a biased top 5 pick for me. I know he
all of it.
Probably doesn't belong there, but I got him there.
Like, how about this? When you talk about
viewers who said I'm disagreeing with Coop for the past 3 weeks now.
When you when you're talking about Benny's versatility, all I'm saying is like, well, how versatile are Fab and Meth and Kiss to you? Because their problem about entering that upper echelon conversation is they're not as versatile as a Ghostface, a Scarface, an Ice Cube, a Nas, a Jay-Z, a Tupac, a Biggie.
Sean, we brought up Benny. We brought up Beanie Siegel. Would you consider Beanie more versatile than Benny?
Yes.
Slightly, yes.
Yes. No.
Because I think he had to stand next to Jay.
No, I think Beanie's more versatile. Beanie's more versatile than Styles, Kiss, Pusha T, Fab, and Meth to me.
Not Kiss. I can't give him that.
He is more versatile than Kiss. Beanie makes joints that you can feel the way Kiss doesn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he makes personal joints. Like Kiss don't have a feel it in the air. He don't.
No.
Yeah, no. Beanie don't have a KISSING.
Feel something going on. Can't tell me nothing different. My nose itching.
Yeah.
Intuition
they each can do something that the other person can't.
Right.
Kiss don't got that.
Styles can do that.
Like, Beanie, lyrically, can do Black Thought, Nas, Rakim type of stuff, but can also make you feel like a Scarface or Ghostface. Like, he is more versatile.
He has the emotion behind it. Behind it.
But Beanie can't hop on the joint like the Maya joint, the Best of Me, and like put a verse like that.
I don't agree with that. I just think he never got the opportunity because he existed at Jay's peak. So he was never going to get those opportunities. I don't agree with that. If he would have been given the same opportunities as Kiss, he would have blazed it.
I don't know, because that's what Jay said. Because I ain't trying to change you, just put you on some game.
Make the transition of street to the fans.
Trying to get him make songs like that.
I personally like Prodigy more than all of these guys. But I can't tell you that. But I can't tell you that. But that's Queens get the money coming out.
You should. I mean, that's not a hot take. You should. You're supposed to feel that way. Cool. Come on.
Yeah, but if we're looking objectively, go look at P's best projects. Like, that ain't Mobb Deep projects. It's like,
I don't want to talk about that because HNIC did fell flat. HNIC 2 wasn't. God bless.
How about this? A lot of. How about this? Here's how I look at Benny's projects. Most of Benny projects are actually like HNIC level, except for he's got 6 of them.
Yeah, but HNIC
so
not
it may
classic.
But
not a classic. HNIC fell short.
It's a classic in Queens. It's a classic in Queens. It's not a classic to everybody. That's not. I'm not being funny when I say this. That's not a hip hop classic. That's a New York hip hop classic. Kind of like Compton's Most Wanted. Compton's Most Wanted for people isn't a hip hop classic, but it's a classic out in Cali.
Right.
It still could have been better because what we thought as fans is like, yo, if P go on a solo mission and it didn't have enough Havoc on production on there. No disrespect to Alchemist, but if P goes on a solo mission, like, man, because he's obviously the better guy in Mobb Deep, this is going to be out of here. And when P dropped HNIC in the Mobb Deep albums up until that point,
it fell short.
You're not putting HNIC over anything except for, you know what I'm saying, that their first joint, you know what I mean, Juvenile Hell. That's the only one you're putting it over. You're not putting it over Murder Music. You're not putting it on Hell on Earth. You're not putting it over Infamous.
It came right after Murder Music.
So Return, like this is what I'm saying though. Return of the Mac and HNIC. I mean, Benny consistently operates on that album wise at least.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Does he have a quiet storm or a shook ones? It's like, well, no. First of all, most people don't have that. That's what I mean.
Saying. He doesn't have signature moments. You got to have a signature moment. He doesn't have a signature moment.
He doesn't.
He has some stuff out there, but not a signature moment.
Matt said Benny not even Jewels in 03.
I won't disagree with that. I
disagree with that.
That's wild, man.
With that.
Jewels was on fire back then, though. He was on fire, but damn.
He was on fire. And until they made Diplomatic Immunity Part 2, I would never forgive them for making Push It.
Okay. Right? So when Mad
Max, yo, baby pop, that was that was crazy.
When Mad Max is saying that, this is what I mean about putting some sort of level of respect on Benny's names. What's Jewel's 6 best projects? Why are we having this conversation?
Ooh, don't do this, man. Mad Max.
No, we're gonna do it.
I'm with you, cool.
Can you name 6 Jewel's projects? That's wild talk.
You can't. But let me get the super chats.
Mad Max.
LOL. Freddie don't have a classic song, but his catalog is better than Kiss or Meth or Fab, who have classic songs on some of these projects. I mean, Breathe from Fab is better than anything Freddie's song.
Singular song, but cohesive project. That's a different thing.
Song, but for 50 songs, I'll take Freddie over Fab. You pull out your best 50 Fab songs. I pull out my best 50 Freddie songs. We'll see.
88 Spence, Fucking Dangerous, cool. I don't. Mad Max, we're gonna make it. Coop, stop it. Kids blacked out on that. 88 Spence, love this conversation. Appreciate you, bro. CJ the Kid, Styles is very versatile. I'm shocked, Coop. We all shocked CJ the Kid.
Not like Beans. Not like Beans.
Beans has feeling in the air.
I'm trying to tell you,
as I'm black.
Beans is different, guys.
Okay.
Like Beans is very much like Scarface, but more lyrically inclined than Scarface. And Scarface is a top 10 all-time rapper, easy.
All right. This is a dope combo, but we're kind of going all over the place. We threw a lot of names out there, so I want to just circle back around to my initial point. So we threw out Jada, we threw out Fab, we threw out Styles, we threw out Siegel, we threw out. I'm not gonna say Freddie because Freddie is in the same class or whatever.
Prodigy.
So, Prodigy. So is that the quote unquote proverbial bar that I'm talking about? And I threw out Pusha T. Is that the bar for Benny that I'm talking about? Because to me, that's realistic versus thinking that he's going to hit that DMX, Jay, Nas, you know what I mean? That sort of stuff. So that goes to my point, Deshaun. We got to lower the bar down. All these names we've been comparing and throwing out, I think that's a realistic bar for Benny. Is he there yet? To Coop's point on the project making, he checks that box. But moments, he's not checking the box of some of these other guys. But I think lowering the bar to that tier level is more appropriate for Benny than thinking he's going to be based on his initial trajectory. Like, yo, this guy could be the next Jay. It's not going to happen. Let's call it what it is.
No.
My expectation was never for that to happen. Like when I heard him, I heard somebody that could be top 5 for this era. I never thought he was going to make the top 5 or the.
But it's a lot of people that was touting him that high. You know what I mean?
See, so respectfully to him, it's like, well, he might be doing more with less because I don't think his ceiling is a Beanie Siegel or a Jada Kiss ceiling either.
We got to drop in some more, or a Method Man, or you know what I'm saying, Pusha T.
Definitely not Meth.
Why be dropping so much though?
Meth. I mean, meth on voice alone and delivery alone has a talent like supersedes 98% of the guys who have ever lived, just like literally off delivery and voice. The fact that he can actually rap his ass off is just like, Meth is a 99th percentile type of MC. Like he is going back and forth with Biggie on the what, and it is a conversation.
Absolutely.
About better verses.
He can do that.
But Sean, you acted like we shooting you. Well, me, I ain't gonna say we. You acting like I'm trying to shoot Benny Bell versus just like calling a spade a spade. Like it's the fan base and his self projections that's putting them up there. I'm like, that's never going to happen. This is more so your ceiling where you're going to be at. And then I think that's just being a realist on this.
But we have to keep it a buck and keep it right there, because if we're saying that Benny has 6 dope projects or 6 phenomenal projects, but we also have to lower the bar, or we also have to say this is a ceiling, it's not adding up to me. Pardon me, I don't understand that. I don't understand that kind of talk, because what I'm saying is, yes, Method Man doesn't have 6 stellar projects. A lot of that has to do with direction, and a lot of that has to do with production as well. A lot of that has to do with so many different factors when you're talking about comparing that to that. You know what I mean? Even when you think about Beans, so many things play a factor into his catalog versus someone else's catalog. Even with
But
Kid.
here's where your argument is flawed. We talked about Common a few weeks ago. Common has 6 dope projects, but we're not comparing them to Jay-Z or Nas or, Scarface or these guys.
Not because they're not on that level. There's levels to this.
Because his best moments, even though musically, if it matches, hasn't had the impact of those guys' best moments.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like B
doesn't mean lower the bar.
Like B has an album I find to be comparable to a Get Rich or Die Trying, a Supreme Clientele, a Blueprint, a Stillmatic, a College Dropout. But it didn't move the meter the way those projects did in terms of impacting the culture. But the music is there.
It's there. And to your point, Sean, we don't have to lower the bar for Common because it's already rightfully placed where it should be. That's my whole point. Benny's bar is not where it should be. It's too high. And that's fine. That's okay. But he's not going to hit that bar that the fan base and himself have set for him. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I'm just being real.
I think his bar is that Jadakiss, Pusha T, Freddie Gibbs, Style P, Fab, Method Man. Whereas, I don't think any of those guys. I think Kiss would be the closest one to top 10. Objectively, Kiss or Meth.
Kiss or Meth, yes.
But even with putting Meth there, a lot of Meth's placement there would have to do with the Wu-Tang work and him being the star of the most lyrical crew who ever lived.
Pusha T or Fab would be more appropriate for Big.
Right. So do I think that he's as good as? First of all, I think Pusha T's better than Fab. I'll just go ahead and say that, and everybody can go ahead and hate me for it.
No question. No question. I'm with you.
And I think Daytona's better than everything Fab ever made, and Hell Hath No Fury.
Do you think Pusha's better than Jada?
No.
I think that's a conversation. Because
it's a conversation, but I'm gonna say no.
I don't think it's a conversation.
Here's where I'm bringing up the album making process. Well, Daytona's better than Kiss the Game Goodbye, and Hell Hath No Fury is better than anything the Lox ever made.
I agree with Hell Hath No Fury is better than any Lox album, but if I pull the 7 best songs off Kiss the Game Goodbye, then we not even having a talk about if it's better than Daytona or not.
But it's not our fault Jadakiss keep making 16 to 19 track albums.
Yeah, but the 7-song album wasn't a thing in 2001. That was called an EP back then.
Right, it was a true EP.
It's not Pusha T's problem. It's Jadakiss' problem. That's a Jadakiss problem. Nobody told you to make 17 records on your debut album.
Yeah. I'm with that. Some records should have been cut.
If you take the 10 best albums, the 10 best tracks on Kiss the Game Goodbye, and that's the album. Oh, you got a whole nother conversation about the entirety of his career. But he didn't do that. That's not my problem. That's not Pusha T's problem.
That's a quality control thing.
Yes.
Daytona's better than Kiss the Game Goodbye. Hell Hath No Fury is better than whatever you think is the best Lox project, and it's actually not close in that regard. And lyrically, he's comparable to Jadakiss, and so I would tell you, I would probably have him personally slightly ahead. Where I would put Jadakiss ahead of Pusha T is that much like with Benny, he hadn't had the moments that Kiss has had.
Not even close.
And so Kiss would edge him out, but that would probably be based on the gravity of the impact, because on some album making shit in a group or solo, Pusha T is actually better and lyrically just as good in my opinion, but has not had the moments. Because much like Jadakiss, it's as much as I love Pusha, it's I don't know where his verse of the year is either.
Better verse on Hunting Season, Coop.
Kiss.
Push.
I got Kiss.
That's fine.
I'll tell you what. Coop, you get Push. AG, you get Benny. I get Kiss.
Hell no. No, we ain't doing that. Why you put me in the basement?
He said, why'd you put me in the basement?
Cable fall. Let me give him to, you know what I mean?
Look how Sean be doing. No. Nah. I should get Kiss just because he's in my top 5.
But you shitting on Kiss. Man, Kiss is spitting.
Read the super chat, Sean.
You're far ahead of us. I'm about to start a whole new life. Mad Max said Fab 50 smoking Spready Gibbs. Yeah, that's crazy. Spready Gibbs. Jadarian, peace, homie. $5 super chat. Is it Benny don't have signature moments, or his signature moments don't have impact? Good point. Joints like 97, the whole rubber bands and weight, are those not signature? Are these not signature moments? Nah, they're not.
Hold on. Both of those records, though, they show where when he exists on that level and he makes that style of record, though. What I'm saying is consistently making records like that at that level can get you somewhere in this game. There's different ways to make it to the top. Like, how about this? The guy that we all respectfully have number one. I mean, he's not exactly known for his hit making prowess.
No, but there's enough hits there. But the thing about
there's enough to buy in, but where he wins ain't with the hits.
No, that's not. But to Benny's moments point, I think, not to pick on Benny, but Benny, Conway, or Westside, I think the best moments have come as a collective in Griselda versus any of them individually. Like the sum is greater than, the individual parts. I think that's the case with them.
Yeah, LP.
There's different ways to do it. When we're ranking Go So High, we're doing that about his solo output, and then it's like, the icing on top is all that Wu-Tang shit.
Yeah. He came in with the mask. You got to give points for that.
I'm giving bonus points for the mask. That I ain't.
Gotta give for the mask.
Bonus points for the mask. Always. Always.
Saying stuff like, speaking of the devil's sight, it's the God, get your shit right. You got to give more points for that. Come on, man.
Don't be a fan. Don't be too much of a fan. Calm down your fandom, Sean.
Don't get me started, man. Bitches think I'm Dominican / half Indian. Don't my mustache, drop to my chin. Can't say that. Benny can't come up with that. Come on, man.
No.
You get the LP super chat?
Yeah, my bad.
My fault.
1 second. LP, it's a different time. Fab, Jada, Beans, and them dropped on the mainstream level. If Benny, Freddie dropped in 98, they'll be there. If you switch roles, Beans is a Griselda rapper. It's the times. I do not disagree. That's a
that's all I'm saying about Benny is that Benny's biggest issue is actually the time that he came out and the guys that existed before him that do what he does. Because no, I do think Siegel is better. I do think Kiss is better. I do think Pusha T is better. That don't mean he don't have a place.
And part of it's Sean's fault because, those guys are from like different boroughs. They try to hate on like Buffalo like they ain't really like repping New York.
All you have to do with it.
AG, all you have to do is tell me that it's Sean's fault and I'm going to agree.
Yeah, it's that elitist mentality, man. They was repping hard for New York, the only ones holding it down. And then people from the boroughs was like, yo, man, like, I don't know about Buffalo.
That is crazy.
Y'all ain't even do the locks like that back in the day from Yonkers. You know what I'm saying?
Because Kiss and those guys had their hairline. Benny hairline is jacked up. So it's hard for you to be able to be like, yo.
Read the super chat.
Hold on. How about this? And this is what I mean about how I have Pusha T ahead. Well, when the Locks and Dipset were like running New York, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Well, the best East Coast music that I was listening to was coming from the Re-Up Gang mixtapes.
So cool. You take clips, I'll take the Locks. Let's go.
Oh, you don't want to do that? We can
go.
Do.
That'll be an interesting one. Okay. That'll be an interesting one.
Okay. I'm all in on that.
Station head. Y'all hear it here. Station head. Coop is taking the clips. I'm taking the Locks.
Hey, can y'all pull like any solo material in that too?
He gonna need it. So I give him anything he need. He gonna need it.
You don't want to do
that. That sounds crazy, Sean. You need to pause that.
It's crazy.
You don't want to do that.
My bad. That is crazy.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Selagasi. I hope I'm saying that right. Kiss Alchemist should happen 15 years ago. Yeah. I agree.
I'd like to see Hit Boy do a whole Kiss project. I think that would be crazy.
What are we rating this Benny? What are we rating this Benny? Like we've had this is what I mean. He does spark debate because look at how we've just kind of like toggled through like a lot of different conversation because of the type of polarizing MC that he can be as well. But what are we ranking this project and what's his ceiling all time would be my.
I got it at 3.5.
Okay.
I can live with that 3.5. I can live with that.
And the ceiling is what I said. Like, I think all time is more appropriately Fab, going a little bit further, maybe I don't think he'll attain Pusha T level. I don't think he'll attain Beanie Siegel level. Definitely not Jada Kiss. Definitely not Method Man. For spitters, I think that Fab level is the bar. I think that's the bar.
Where do you have Fab all time, AG?
Top 30.
So you think Benny can eclipse Fab and make it into our top 30?
I don't know about Eclipse, but he'll be in the conversation. He'll be within the same grouping, like if not top 30, maybe somewhere within 35. I think him or Conway. I think they're both neck and neck where they can, either one of them can get that spot.
Do you think at this point where they currently stand, their top 50 MCs all time?
Top 50, like, yeah, just off the top of my head, yeah, top 50.
Okay, that's easy. Very hard. That's very hard to do in this climate because how many MCs from this era are in the top 50?
I agree with that.
True.
I agree with that.
So it's like let's not piss all over it. Is all I'm saying. I'm not saying.
And and do you agree with Fab being towards the bottom, like bottom of top 30, like, you know what I mean, somewhere in there?
I objectively would probably have Fab somewhere 30 to 35 if we're talking objectively, but I think Conway and Benny are in that realm and still have more in front of them. I think where Fab is in terms of his placement, I feel like Benny and Conway are still going in a right there.
Right, and this is why moments are important, Coop, because this just popped in my head. Fab is a better spitter overall, I would say, but Cam's moments trump anything Fab did. So I gotta rate Cam higher in that, that top 30 than I would Fab.
Okay. And so do you think it's unrealistic to say that Benny and Conway can pass Fab and Cam? Do you think that's unrealistic?
I think it's unrealistic for me.
For Cam, I don't think they will. For Fab, it's in the conversation.
See, okay, so when you're saying that about Cam, and I love Cam, like I prefer Cam over Fab too, so I would tell you that. But what I would tell you is that it's just a few slots over. So like if I got Fab at like 33, I probably have Cam at like 28, 29.
You splitting hairs. But right now, here's the problem. We mentioned Styles P and we mentioned Sheik early in the show. I personally wouldn't put, even though the solo albums are not there, I personally wouldn't put Benny over Sheik.
Shit.
I would not be mad at that.
I'm not doing that.
I would not be mad at that.
What I would tell you
that's the AG I know. That other guy, that other guy's on some other stuff, but that's the AG I know. I hope my attention.
I hope both of your internets go out so I can just take over.
What Captain Candy said.
Mine literally did an hour ago.
So what I would tell you, the ceiling for Benny, for me, would be to crack the top 25, which would put him in the Styles and Beanie Siegel range for me.
Okay, that's fair. I think
he can pass Fab and Cam by a hair, but I think the ceiling for it long term would to be in that 25, 26, 27 conversation.
I got Bleak higher. No, I'm joking because I just want to trigger Sean. Sean. No, I like Bleak. I'm a fan of Bleak, but Sean gets triggered every time I talk about like Bleak having dope stuff. But to your point, Coop, I think we rank Beanie higher because Beanie was spitting next to Jay like on so many tracks, like getting Jay and then holding his own. Yeah, and I don't really. Even though Benny's been on tracks with a lot of people, he doesn't have somebody. You know how they say when you hooping, you play with cats that's better than you, so you can, still sharp and still you can get better, right? You play with the older kids and stuff. I don't think Benny has that person that he collaborates with frequently that's going to push his pen. And he probably looks at Conway like that because they're relatives and they're older and he came up under them, but he doesn't have that figure like Beans had Jay to like really push his pen like all the time.
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, much as I love Conway, Conway's not Jay.
There you go.
Conway's not Jay. And in a lot of ways, to me, Benny's not Beanie. But what I am telling you is that he can have the type of career because it's still going right now, where we can look back at his career and be like, no, he's got enough to be over a Styles and a Beanie Siegel and a Cam and a Fab. It's like, no, he has that capability. And I think that's saying a lot. Now, do I think he's going to jump into that next tier where like Method Man, Pusha T, Black Thought, Common, DMX, Like, do I think he's going there?
Like
It's like,
fun.
no. I mean, I want
Elevate.
to understand this is like, well, very few people have been as impactful as DMX, and he's not in my top 10. And I love X.
I agree.
And X
But
isn't
here's
top
where
10.
we
X isn't top 10 to me, so the
no.
impact isn't everything either. Or X would be top 10.
Okay, so this question's for you, Coop, to decide who's right between me and Sean. We come to a fork in the road. You say he can do that and achieve that. I say that if he stays in this wheelhouse that he's used to, that he can achieve that and stop setting the bar to crazy expectations, thinking you're going to be a star. Just stay right here where you're comfortable. Sean says that he's not versatile enough and doesn't possess the range, and therefore he won't hit that unless he gets this different tools in his tool bag. What do you say to that?
Yeah, that's
No,
nasty.
no, I'm with you because I
That is
think
nasty.
I'm with you. Like, first of all, because you're against Sean. That's the first. we're not gonna let Sean win. Is the first part.
Yo, that is nasty. Yo.
The second part to that would be, I do believe, musically speaking, that when you organically do what you do best, the best that you have to offer is going to come. And so I feel like if he will double down on what it is that he does best, I feel like he might start making records possibly that are going to be.
It'll come naturally, man.
It'll come naturally. Like part of why I think Higher is the best song on here is because it's like, oh no, it feels natural. And that's his level. And if he can continue to make records like that and you get in the habit of making records like that at that level, oh no, something is going to come from it.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to make a Hard Knock Life. There's different ways to do it. Like, part of why I brought up X did this with Get At Me, Dog, and Stop Being Greedy. Don't tell me it can't be done. Seen it get done.
Right. So yeah, Sean, you lost, and going forward,
that's the best part.
And to your point, Coop, we know who Benny is more than we know who Killer Mike is. Circling back to that,
we do. Yeah. We do. We know him more than we know Big Sean. That's what I mean. And it's like when he's on Higher and he's like, "Come fuck with us," I'm like, "Oh, that's a hustler."
Yeah.
That's hustler talk. That's a hustler. Like, I know who he is, who he's speaking to, where he's coming from. It is identifiable to me.
No doubt.
Shout out to Benny. Yeah. So we giving Benny a 3.5. We land on 3.5.
Do you agree with that, Coop?
I would give it a 3.75. I feel like the things that I'm going to knock it for is that beat wise, I do think Everybody Can't Go has better beats. Mm-hmm. But I feel like he actually sounds more comfortable on this album.
I think the rapping's better on this one.
I think the album flows better.
In his pocket.
I think the bar work is comparable, but he says more noteworthy punchline rapper stuff on this project.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I almost feel like I wish that he would have actually just waited and taken the best from both projects and released one album, because I think we would have an album of the year contender. Because when I listen to both projects, and when I listen to both projects and what's the best of both of them, well, the only albums, if you were to put the best from both projects together, that I think I would still say might be better is the Rhapsody, the I Am God, and the Paisley Dreams, and I'm not sure about that. And so I feel like he would have an album of the year contender had he just condensed all of these.
But here's the problem. I agree with that, Coop. Here's the problem. Rappers sometimes put themselves in a box and it ends up shooting themselves in the foot, and because they can't get out of that box. Because like you said, you can pull some of the joints off his project and put it on Everybody Can't Go, and it's better. But if you market it as, oh, this is going to be half Alchemist, this is going to be half Hit Boy. So if you're doing joints that's dope, that's produced outside of those two producers, and you're like, damn, I got to put this to the side over here for another project because I'm marketing this project to be this, then that's putting yourself in a box and having certain confinements that's really limiting yourself, because some of these songs would have elevated that project. You know what I mean? So
yeah, like I feel like Brunch should have been on this project. I feel like it would have been more appropriate for the end of the summer. I think he would have given himself better push and buzz behind this project. I would have preferred to hear Bron on this project. I think how about this? Putting Bron
unless
on
they
this
would have lost and got the LeBron's medal again.
Right, but just Bron alone for me would have pushed this project into an easy 4 range, maybe 4.25. And I feel like the buzz behind the album and behind the record would be different, because I also feel like what happened, because of the expectations that were self-inflicted by him, he had the records, but when you start talking, it's dark and hell is hot.
Yeah.
To
It
us,
changes things.
to
It
us,
changes things.
no, you can't do that to us because
Blasphemy.
what you're essentially saying is I'm about to make a top 20 rap album because that's what it's dark and hell is hot is.
Right. That's why he had to
Yeah.
spin the block again, cool, because he knew that it didn't do what it was supposed to do.
No, and it's smart of him, but
We're not
also
talking about it.
but it's not out of his fabric of character to pull up and do 2-3 projects a year.
It's
That's
not.
his MO for
It
this
is.
crew.
It's
But
not.
he was
also
quiet
made-
he was quiet as a church mouse with this one though. He ain't say
Because
nothing.
You want to know what? Because he knew that he didn't meet the expectations, and he wanted to let the record speak this time, and I feel like it did.
Exactly.
And that makes me question: did he really feel that way about Everybody Can't Go as his own project, or was Def Jam gassing him to
No.
say those things for promo purposes?
Both.
Truth, probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it's both. You got to get some excitement around it. It's a major release on Def Jam. You got to get some excitement about it. He's the one. He was, and I think that's where we are right now. I can't speak for you guys, but I think that's what I'm hearing from you, because I think that we're comparing Benny to the 90s and the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like a soldier out of time. He's here in 2024, and he's the closest thing to that ilk that we enjoy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to say, yeah, he has these many dope projects because he's amongst a lot of not so stellar projects coming out right now.
To your initial point when you was talking at the beginning of the show, Sean, it's like somebody being a lockdown defender in today's era.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was
you're gonna stand out amongst the weaker competition.
Well, his biggest problem is that what he does, the guys before it have done it better and had more impactful moments. Like Griselda doesn't have a grind.
Yes, cool. In an era that applauded it, in an era that championed it. We championed knowing that Kiss was coming. Pause. We championed knowing that Fab was about to drop something. We were ready for it. Like it was different.
So this is where it becomes unfair when people are like, Benny, subject matter is the same. I've been listening to Pusha T rap about cocaine, and I've been listening to Jada Kiss and the Locks murder half of New York City since I was a teenager.
Right.
They have been pushing weight and busting caps in niggas' ass since I was a teenager. Don't talk to me about subject matter being redundant when Pusha T has pushed more bricks than the third piggy. A whole brick house full of bricks.
Absolutely.
House full of bricks. Don't tell me that. And I still get excited to hear him build a house of bricks. The same way I still get excited to hear Jada Kiss, Styles, and Sheik murder half of the city when they drop an album. Everybody's getting a blicky to the face when the Locks drop an album. What are we talking about?
That's a fact.
Absolutely.
Like, they're great at it. That's what I'm saying. He's being held hostage by the fact, well, the guys before you did it better. It's like, okay, that doesn't mean he's not great, though.
Yeah, just stay in your wheelhouse, man. And
like, how about this? Let's look at it like this.
Too.
Let's look at it like this. Who are your top 5 small forwards all time?
Gotta have Braun, Larry Bird, Dr. J. That's what, 3?
Yeah.
I'm throwing Scotty at number 4. Oh, well, no. Durant. You gotta put Durant and then Scotty. I put Durant. Durant would be 3rd. I would say Braun, Bird, Durant, Dr. J, Scotty. That's my 5.
Okay. What about you, Sean?
I may put Grant Hill in. I ain't gonna lie.
Prime
Grant Hill was a beast. I hate to do camp.
If Grant Hill stays healthy, I feel like he takes that 5 spot that Scottie Pippen's in.
Grant Hill was Braun before Braun.
He was.
I'm with AG's top 4.
I can live with that. I would say T-Mac, if T-Mac would stay healthy, he'll be in there as well.
He played a lot at the 2, though.
He played a lot of 2.
Yeah, but he classifies at 3, but he did play a lot at the 2. Yeah.
That's fair, because when him and Vince Carter played on the same team, Carter was the 2 and he was the 3.
He was the 3.
Yeah.
So
I can agree with AG. Yeah.
So so listen to what I'm about to tell you. So we just named LeBron James, Larry Bird, Dr. J, Kevin Durant, Scottie Pippen, Grant Hill, and Tracy McGrady. Okay, so we just named 7 guys. Do you all think that Jason Tatum is going to end up being better than the 7 guys that you named?
No.
I don't see it.
But he's still great, isn't he?
Yeah.
Same thing with Benny. That's what I'm saying. Is like, no, is the nigga Dr. J or KD or LeBron or Larry Bird? Like, no, he's not. But much like Jason Tatum, it's like, no, that doesn't mean that he can't be like conversational and crack like the top 10, 15 in terms of what it is that he brings to the table, and he does. Not like asking him to be top 5, like for how he talks is like asking him to be better than Jay-Z, Cool G Rap, Jay Kiss, Pusha T. It's like, no, not those guys. But for this era, is he a good approximation of those things? The same, and this is exactly what I mean. Do I think Jason Tatum is better than Kevin Durant or LeBron James? No. Am I watching him ball with them on the same level, even though I think all time it's not going to turn out that way? Yes, he is. I've watched him block Kevin Durant's shot. I've watched him drop a 40-piece on a LeBron team where LeBron is guarding him. So, he has the capability to play with these guys. It's just all time. Is he going to reach those levels? Well, it's like, well, no.
I agree with that, Coop. And to what you're saying is, I think that's where me and Sean wasn't aligned, because he said you have to evolve and you have to show certain versatility, whereas I said stay in a certain wheelhouse. That versatility card, I put that down on the table if I can see you as an artist that you can do it, but you choose not to do it. What I'm saying about Benny is I'm seeing more so like, I'm not saying he can't do it altogether, but to hold him to that bar, like you said, like holding Jason Tatum to the top 5 small forwards is unfair to him, because I don't think that he can do that or be that level of versatile MC. And that's fine. But when I throw that card on the table, like this person needs to be more versatile going forward, then I see that in you. You're just not, using that, as far as, what you use in your skill set. People use that with Pusha T, you know what I mean? But he sticks to what he knows well, which is, coke rap. But it is what it is.
I think versatility and evolution are 2 different things in this case.
See, this is what I mean. So define versatility in terms of being a rapper. Because here's what I'm saying. If we translate it to ball terms, it's like, you do understand that I just watched 2 games in the 4th quarter where Steph and KD literally got to the same spots, to do the same shots and run the same types of plays in action that they have literally been doing for the past 10, 15 years.
I saw Melo talking the other day. He practices the same spots on the floor over and over and over and over again.
In the semifinal game where KD hit that shot at the top of the key, how many times in an NBA game have you watched him clear out the same exact way with the shot clock winding down, or with the quarter winding down, or with the game winding down, and he shoot literally that same shot from a comparable spot on the floor? Is that versatility to you, or is he all-time great at pulling off that move? When you seen Curry come around that screen and give his dribble handoff action, and then they swing the ball back, is that versatility? Because
but to
getting to the same 2 spots on the floor for 15 years. KD's been getting to the same 3 or 4 spots for 15 years. Aren't they considered to be versatile?
To use your term, I think is a situation where you're doing all the things, right? I think that's what we use as far as like versatility. Like, show me a little bit more this, that. Like I said, I like kitchen table. That was a hell of a concept, you know what I'm saying, for subject matter. But, using the basketball analogy, I'm okay with Benny being who he is. Like I said, I'm a Melo guy. Melo's one of my favorite players of all time. Did he win a chip? No. You know what I mean? Is he in that conversation for best small power forwards ever? Yes. Is he in the top 5? No. But you're going to bring his name up when you listing off all these guys, and that's fine. Like, Benny can be like what Melo is in the pantheon of, like, he's a bad boy when he gets on the mic because people respect Melo's game. But is he those other guys? No. And that's okay.
So here's how I look at versatility. It's like, first of all, I saw somebody chat KD can score from anywhere on the floor. Like, no shit. He's 6'11" with a 7'4" wingspan.
Absolutely.
An actual jump shot. Like, thanks for telling the world some shit that we've been that we know. Like, definitely. Like, thanks for explaining that. Thanks for breaking that down. It's great analysis. What the hell are we doing? What I'm trying to say is that when we define the versatility when it comes to somebody, so like Kevin Durant, when he was winning scoring titles, he didn't have the defensive prowess to make the block that he made in that gold medal game the other day. Did you see his reaction, how he timed that block and made that block?
Yeah.
the KD that was winning 4 scoring titles and literally came in second 3 of the other years and could have won 7. Like that guy is a better scorer, and that's when he actually won his MVP. But this guy's actually more versatile.
Yeah,
you know
I think I know your answer to this, but would you put KD as a better scorer than Melo? Me personally, I'll say no. The only thing that gives Melo the edge is the post game. KD don't have that.
KD has actually been in the post more the last couple of years.
He has it. He just don't use it.
He doesn't use it.
It's not as effective or efficient as Melo is with his.
That's actually where I was about to tell you where I do think Kevin Durant's a better scorer than Carmelo is, because he is more of a threat percentage-wise on every level of the court than Carmelo.
Percentage-wise, I give you that.
Yes. Now
you can't stop that.
Now is KD gonna like give
He ain't gonna
prime
bully
Kobe? Is he gonna give a prime Kobe the problems that Carmelo did? No, but he did give LeBron plenty of problems. You know,
I lost a lot of respect for KD when I saw he couldn't post up Chris Paul in the playoffs one time.
Against the Clippers.
That's more of a war.
You're a foot taller than dude, and he's pushing you off the block. Like,
this is what I mean. Is like, as far as like true shooting percentage all time, it's like Steph and KD are number 1 and number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like in terms of like, if you go to the guys that have over 20,000 points, and you go to the true shooting percentage, like the effective field goal percentage, it's Steph and KD, and they're like tenths of a point apart. And so when I look at KD's effective shooting percentage, well, is Melo a great free throw shooter? Yeah, but he's not better than KD. Is Melo a great 3-point shooter? Yeah, but he's not better than KD.
Yeah, when you look at the numbers, KD's going to have a more. Yeah.
Yeah, is Carmelo's one of the best mid-range shooters I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant might be the best mid-range shooter I have ever seen. And so respectfully, he's just better at all of the levels, and he does have a better defensive game. Only thing Melo really got on him is size in the post.
Yeah.
But that's why Carmelo is a top 10 small forward as opposed to top 3 or 4, in my opinion, depending on how you feel about it.
Well, you got the other names that we mentioned, Grant Hill and Tracy McGrady, I think just off of like the longevity factor, you got to put him ahead of those guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because those guys didn't win anything either, you know?
Well, okay, so how about this? Like if Benny ends up being on the as far as like talking this hustler talk goes, if Benny ends up being on the back end of the top 10, that's a great career. Being on the back 10 of small forwards is like being Dominique. It's like being Dominique Wilkins or like imagine being Dominique Wilkins or Carmelo Anthony, and people are telling you that you're not good, you're not Dr. J or Larry Bird or KD or LeBron.
I could totally live with being Neek or Melo 100%.
Being Dominique or Carmelo.
Neek is in that conversation.
98% of you would still to be Dominique or Carmelo.
That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Or even Vince Carter for that matter. You know what I'm saying? Because Vince Carter played a lot at the 3. So yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with Benny being Vince Carter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm cool with Benny being Carmelo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with being Melo.
Yep.
Yeah, you can be top 10 at what you do all time. Anybody that can put themselves in a conversation to be top 10 at what they do all time in a competitive sport like rap or basketball, where literally millions of people attempt to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're top 10 at what you do all time, or you have that type of trajectory, that's an all-time great career, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you do a Hunger Games style, if you put all those guys in a room, Benny, Fab, like Beanie, like, you know, all the guys we named, I can't guarantee you that Benny gonna be the first one kicked out of that room. You know what I'm saying? I can't guarantee that. So he's where he needs to be for the most part in my book. Yeah. They just need to lower the bar where expectation is going to be.
Yeah, and that's okay. We still like Benny. Shout out to Benny. I think we're done here, fellas.
So real quick, before we go, I kind of wanted to run down our top 10 albums from our mid-season review and ask you all if there are some albums that need to be inserted, and if we've listened to some of these projects respectfully from all of us that when we did the mid-season review that we hadn't listened to yet before we get out of here.
Okay. For sure. And I had a real quick question before we do that deep dive. Like the LL joint, did y'all like that single? Because that dropped. That was new music.
Yes, I enjoyed it.
With Saweetie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like Q-Tip did his thing on that.
He's in the pocket. Yeah.
Q-Tip is sound like these beats are sounding great.
The project's going to be dope. Yeah, go ahead, cool.
So when we did our mid-season review, I'm just gonna list off our top 10 albums, and we'll repost this. And I'm gonna ask y'all if y'all have listened
Killer
to
Mike.
it.
Well, we got Killer Mike. Did we rate Killer Mike?
Oh yeah, we didn't rank the Killer.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
I got 3. Doing it without stress.
It would have served, like I said, it would have served more being part of Michael as a double album instead of his own standalone thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're being hard about our standards, and we should be. But if we're giving the Benny a 3.5, then we're gonna have to give the Mike a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can give him a 3.25, maybe. Y'all are being harsh today. It's like I thought the Benny was a 3.75, and I thought the Mike was a 3.25. But consensus is gonna rule, so we'll go 3.5 and 3. So our top 10 rap albums, our mid-season review, were the Rhapsody. What's it called? Like not
Oh, the album title. Please Don't Cry.
Yeah, Please Don't Cry.
Yeah.
I Am God's at number 2 with Blood Suede Stain 2. Big Hit, Game, and Hit with Paisley Dreams is number 3. Schoolboy Q with Blue Lips is our number 4. Gunna is 5 with One of One. Big Hit, and Al with Black and Whites is our number 6.
Mm-hmm.
We Don't Trust You with Future and Metro is number 7.
Mm-hmm.
We All We Got by the Dog Pound was our number 8.
Mm-hmm.
And part of why I wanted to have this conversation is because at my at my behest, we put the mock homie Rich Haitian at number 9 and Master Ace's Richmond Hill at number 10, even though y'all hadn't had time to really go through those joints. And also at the time that happened, the Lupe had just dropped with Samurai. People were saying Ransom deserved more love. And the Crooked and the Joel just dropped, which y'all had listened to, but I hadn't got to yet. Yep. And so respectfully, I wanted to give my thoughts about the Crooked and Joel briefly, but I want to hear first, since we have Mock Homie and Master Ace at 9 and 10, but y'all really hadn't dug into the projects like that. Are y'all still okay with that? Have albums come out since then, like The Common and Pete Rock, that deserve to slide in this top 10?
I do. I think that hold on, let me get the super chat because CJ...
and the Vince Dark Times. We've had more time to sit on that.
Yeah.
As well.
CJ the Kid says so far it's looking like Force will be better than the Auditorium. I agree. It's shaping up that way. Queens get the money. I don't know, fellas. I think we have to put the Auditorium in this top 10 now.
I think it could jump up to 3.
So you think it's better than Paisley Dreams?
Yes. I think it could jump all the way to 3, and I think 2 would be a conversation, but I'm gonna give I Am God the edge. And I like the Mock Homie, the Master Ace. I would probably take out the top 10. It was good too, but I would substitute Samurai for that. And I don't think this, we're updating it because of these new projects. I don't think this Benny cracks the top 10. Maybe Vince, because Vince's project went back and gave it a listen. But if I have to pick between 2 out of the 3 to make the bottom, I would say Lupe and Mock Homie over the Vince.
Okay, so let's hold on, because we're gonna have to rework some of that based on the Auditorium. So are we?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, because that's going to add another. Yeah, you're right.
Are we clear that we still have Rhapsody and I Am God ahead of The Common and Pete Rock? Are all 3 of us okay with that?
I still feel Rhapsody is still number 1.
I think the conversation for the Pete Rock, it comes at number 2. I'm comfortable putting it at number 3 for sure. The question is, do we put it at number 2, which I think would be viable. But I think as a conversation,
I'm going to push back a little bit and tell you that I still enjoy listening to Paisley Dreams more than I do the Auditorium. For not saying that it's a more positive album, but it's more inspirational in terms of the actual feeling that it gives you. I feel like on Paisley Dreams, the world that Game and Big Hit are giving you, that Hit Boy's giving you the soundscape to, has more replay factor and more of a vibe and just a better overall feel than the Auditorium. Although the Auditorium technically would be the better album, are we sure that it's better than our number 3 Paisley Dreams? Are we sure?
I love Paisley Dreams, but it was the bit. What's that, bud?
I do think the auditorium is a little bit too high. I don't know if I can put it number 3, man. I haven't listened back to it since the first week or two, maybe. To me,
I love the record, but we talked about moments earlier, and the auditorium is clearly the bigger moment than Paisley Dreams is.
Yeah, but
as well as quality that's comparable.
But what did that big moment really yield? Because it didn't reflect in any numbers, and it's not reflecting in any hub or replay value. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't really gone back to it like that. I was playing Paisley Dreams for about a month straight.
Yeah.
I play them both about the same, so for me that's splitting hairs or whatever. Because I sat with the Paisley Dreams for a while, and then I've still been listening to. I won't say I run auditorium from front to back, but I do have like a lot of records that I go back to on that present day.
So Sean, you're kind of gonna have to break this tie, because for me, it sounds like AG kind of wants to put it at number 2. I kind of want to put it at number 4. Where do you think it lies?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I have it like at 5. I have like right there in the middle.
But you said also drop Paisley Dreams down as well, so that kind of convolutes things a little bit.
No, I mean, I don't have it over Paisley Dreams. I don't have it over Paisley.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't have it over Paisley Dreams at all. For me, I think Paisley Dreams is still the better album.
So then I guess we need to put it at number 4.
I can live with number 4.
So if we do that, so the auditorium's number 4. So this is how it slides then. Then Blue Lips would be number 5 by Schoolboy.
Mm-hmm.
One of One by Gunna is at 6. Are we still okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah. The one is solid.
No, I'm still playing 101.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we think that Blacks and Whites by Hit Alk and Big Hit is still
that stays?
That got to be there.
Black and Whites?
Yeah, that got to stay.
So We Don't Trust You is at number 8. We still okay with that?
That's got to stay.
Yeah, I'm still good with that.
I think the Dog Pound album is where stuff can get entertained.
Because that would put Dog Pound at 9 and Mock Homie at 10.
I think Dog Pound probably just fell out of the top 10.
Yeah. I say Lupe got to be in that spot.
Okay, so you got do both of y'all have Lupe over Mock Homie's Rich Haitian, since we're sliding Dog Pound back?
I do.
I don't.
I like the Mock better too.
The Mock just sounds better to me, man.
The Mock just sounds.
So we could put Mock at 9 and then have Lupe at 10, because I don't think any of the only other album that's slapboxing with that for the 10th spot for me would be the Vince. What do y'all say to that? Vince or Lupe at 10?
I personally, after listening to both, I feel like the Vince is a little bit more well-rounded than the Lupe, and so I would have the Vince ahead of the Lupe. So if we're sliding Dog Pound out of the top 10, and Rich Haitian is going to be number 9 and not move, what I would tell you probably deserves to be in there is Dark Times by Vince over Samurai. But I could see it going Samurai, Dark Times, Samurai, and then the Master Ace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or hold on. See, this thing, so what are we doing for 10? Before we even do any of that, what are we doing for 10?
I think I got outvoted because I said Lupe at 10, and then I think Sean agreed with you that it should be the Vince.
I'll lean more towards
Lupe
that,
wouldn't make the top 10.
Yeah. That Lupe just, I don't know, man.
So Dark Times by Vince is our 10. Now, here would be my next thing. Now we still have the Master Ace, the Dog Pound, the Crooked and Joel, the Ransom, and 2 Benny projects, and a Ghostface project, a Conway project, a Rock Marcy project. Y'all want to hash that out right quick, or y'all just want to roll with this 10?
The only two projects out of the ones you named that I really love are the Ransom and the Joel and the Crooked, but not enough to crack. I don't think that either one of them cracked the top 10. I just really rock with those albums heavy, but being objective, I don't think they cracked the top 10.
And no Eminem.
Is the Dog Pound now? We had Dog Pound at 8. Where are they now? 11.
Yeah, that would.
I think the dog pound end to end.
I would put the Lupe over the dog pound probably.
I would
But
go Lupe.
Lupe. So
I'll put
samurais are 11.
Yeah.
Would
I'll
you
be
put
honest.
dog
I'll put
pound?
Eminem over Lupe.
Hold on, dog pound or master ace?
dog pound.
Pound.
You cool with the master ace at 13? Or do you think that the Joel and Crooked's better than the master ace?
I like it better, but I can't say objectively it's better.
What
And I
about
was
the
about to
Rand?
say that, AG. I want to
What
say
about
that. I like it better. I personally like the Joel and Crooked better.
What about the ransom? Is the ransom better than the master ace?
The ransom, I'll say, is objectively better than the master ace for me. I like it better, and I say it's objectively better.
Is it better than the Crooked and Joel?
I think so.
Yeah.
So ransom would be 13, and then you're saying Crooked and Joel,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
then master ace.
Yep.
Where's any of Benny's projects in this? Is Benny's last 2 projects in here somewhere? Because right now we're at 15.
I think now you get into the conversation of this new project. We haven't had a long time to sit with it. I prefer it to Everybody Can't Go, but as far as list representation, I don't know if I would put it on the list at this point over Everybody Can't Go. I will put Everybody Can't Go next.
Where's
What about the Death of Slim Shady? Yeah, Sean, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, shit.
Everybody Can't Go. Or the death, where's the Death of Slim Shady in here?
Oh, man. I enjoyed that album. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm the Resident M fan. Nah, that might be.
You think it's better than Everybody Can't Go?
I might will put that Eminem like closer to like 12 or something like that.
You think
it's
really?
up there. Objectively speaking, like honestly, if I'm being objective, it's
so
up
is
there.
it better?
I would even say, man, yeah, I'm gonna get hated on, but I would say I'd probably put it in the top 10 over Vince if I'm like keeping it 1,000.
Look, if I'm being
it's better than the Vince.
I think it's better than the Vince. I think it's better than the Lupe. I think it's better. Yeah, man. I think now what do we have at 9? We had the Mahami at 9.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad at putting Eminem at the 10 spot instead of Vince, but that's up to y'all, man. I really enjoyed that.
If I'm being objective, I will have to say, yeah.
So are we putting M at 10?
How do you feel about it, Coop?
It's tough, man.
First of all, I'm a big fan of the Dog Pound album. So I think the Dog Pound album, for me, the Dog Pound album is better than Samurai and Dark Times. Like for me, I actually prefer Rich Haitian to the Dog Pound album. So I would feel most comfortable putting M at 13 after the Dog Pound album, since we have the Dog Pound album at 12. But I'm being outvoted on this. So if y'all want to put them at 10, we can. If that's how y'all are both feeling, it's definitely better than Rich Haitian to me.
Conceptually, he delivered. Conceptually, he delivered, man. Like I'm going back to that album. You know,
that's tough.
How about this? I'm actually not cool with it being ahead of the Vince, but I am cool with it being ahead of the Lupe.
Well, of course you are.
Yeah, I mean, for obvious reasons. Yeah.
No, I mean, I just mean quality of project wise.
Yeah, I think it's better than the Lupe as well.
So how about this? Can we meet in the middle and put the M at 11?
Coop didn't even bring up Vultures too. He said we ain't even gonna talk about that.
No need to talk about that. What is that? We don't know what that is because they don't know what they just made. And you know what? Just real quick about Vultures too. It's a shame that Ty Dolla $ign is getting this version of Kanye. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
So we're putting the death. So are we cool with the Death of Slim Shady?
I would say 10. That's my vote for 10.
I don't think it's better than the Vince. I don't, because the Vince is more consistent.
I don't know, man. We back to table with this one. I'm not gonna lie, because this is tough.
If both of y'all really feel like this album is 10, then we'll put it at 10. I'm just saying, for me,
For me, it's no lower than 11.
I'm cool with 11.
I'm cool with 11 too.
Okay. So that would make Lupe Samurai 12. We got by the Dog Pound would be 13. The Ransom would be 14. The Crooked and Joel would be 15. Master Ace would be 16. Everybody Can't Go by Benny at 17?
I think we have to. I think it's too early to put this one in.
Okay. And so, what are our last three spots? Like our back end of our last one had like Ghost, Conway, Rock Marcy. How are we feeling about those projects?
Did you say Rand?
Yeah, Ransom is at 14.
Okay, I missed that.
Rock Marcy.
Yeah.
Rock Marcy. Yes, I think we had Rock Marcy like at 16 originally. And so some of the people in front of him have gotten reworked, but this would put him at 18. So he didn't drop.
Yeah, I ain't trying to be funny, but Ghost probably gonna end up being 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I'll be honest. Yeah.
Conway and then Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're missing something, let us know, people. So this is how the year.
Will we have Lupe again?
Lupe is at 12 now.
Well,
I think Lupe and Dog Pound need to switch. I think
too.
Dog Pound is better than Lupe.
I'm outvoted on that, so y'all can switch it.
Yeah, I think Lupe is better than.
Okay, so I'm cool with that. So Dog Pound is at 12. Lupe is at 13. That Dog Pound album was really dope. It might be
a dope album.
And speaking of Dog Pound, you noticed that July came and went, and we never did get that Missionary album because it was supposed to come out the end of July. We're in August now, and nobody said nothing else about it.
You were waiting for that?
I told you. I told you.
Nah, we talked about it. We talked
about it.
when
we talked about it. It was like all of you guys, all of you foolish people, think that you are getting a Dr. Dre and Snoop album, and those of you think you're getting a Nas and DJ Premier album.
It ain't happening.
Get off the drugs. It's not happening. And what's even more delusional is the fact that people actually can conjure up in their mind and say, after all these years of waiting, I'm going to get a Nas and DJ Premier album the same year I'm getting a Dre and Snoop album. Niggas is smoking.
Well, Nas and Premier is actually happening. The Dre and Snoop, I can't say so.
Not this year, though. I said it's not happening. I said neither one of these
October
projects are coming out this year. Neither one of these projects are coming out this year.
I'm saying October. I'm putting my stamp on it. I'm thinking the Nas and Premier drop in October, and that's with no information.
You keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
October.
I told you when we heard Define My Name, I'm like, this album's not really happening this year.
September.
Not happening.
September.
You saying the album dropping in September?
Yeah, 2025.
I say October, man. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I got to slide, guys. I got stuff I got to do.
Yeah.
Gonna take my little girl to basketball practice. Good show, fellas. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Like, subscribe, share. Like, subscribe, share. Shout out to my homies Coop and Adriel G, or Mike G, if I call him for this episode. Coop and Mike G back, y'all. Hey, my bad, AG. I
was about to say something, but if I say it,
shout out to Coop and Mike G. But we appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for pulling up on Brunch on Sunday. We'll be back. Oh, yeah, we started Dave East album, Jack. We got to get back in the lab and think about this a little bit more. Because Dave East album he did drop like 2, I think. We'll look at some stuff.
This one will fly off the top of the dome.
Yeah, off the top of the dome is crazy. Yeah, no doubt. So
man, cut the tape, man.
Peace.
Y'all enjoy.
No, good show, fellas.